This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone. Welcome to day one in Google Cloud Platform Cloud Architect training. So the first day, so it's going to be a little slow. It's like we need to get started all those things. So today maybe a little slow and little boring. So just wanted to set the context there. Once we get started, we should be all good there. Some general informations, folks. Whatever you see on the slide, you will be getting a PDF version of it for your this thing, and this is a lifetime access. Similarly, the class itself, uh, if you're not able to attend the complete session due to some reason, the session would be recorded. It is going to be made available within the next 8 hours of the class. The entire class is around 4 hours with some breaks and all. It's going to be around 3 hours 40 minutes or 3 hours 30 minutes. So to process that video itself, right, it's going to take 1 hour for me. So by 8 hours maximum you should have the recording, and it's going to be a private YouTube playlist. So the email ID which you have already shared with me, uh, it will be sent to that, so you should be able to view that. And if you feel you want to use a different email ID, do drop me a direct mail. So I'm going to add that as the uh, email ID so that you can access your stuff. So since it's on a YouTube, you can play it on any of your favorite device. It could be on your phone, your laptop, or it could be on your iPad or on your TV. So that is one thing. And for a better experience, because the recordings, you are only going to listen to it at a later point of time for quick refresh of those things. So if you can mute yourself, that's going to be really awesome. The reason is avoid background noise. That's the only thing. And if you at any point of time, if you have a question, you have two options. You can put it in the chat. And if you feel this is something very specific question you want to ask, there's an option in the drop down. You can ask, send a question to everyone, so that if you feel the team needs to be, it would be helpful for the team, send it to everyone. But if it's something very specific, you feel, change it to a presenter or something of that option is there, so that it only I see the question. Okay. So that's one thing. Or you can unmute yourself and do it. I would prefer to do the first option, chat, because everybody can see the question at least. Sometimes people may not be able to get the question correctly, so if you can put it, it's going to be awesome. uh, that's one thing. And because it's going to be a 4 hours thing, so we'll definitely have some kind of bio breaks, and everybody knows human brain cannot withstand more than 60 minutes of time. So after 1 hour we'll definitely have a 10 minutes break, bio break. What kind of break you want to take, you can consider that. So then we'll proceed further. So that's going to be the first things. And the only prerequisite I would say is just focus on the class. That's it. No need to take any notes or anything. I wanted to start something different in this batch, where any cheat sheets, any reference materials, we are going to create in the class itself. So just need to refer to it at a later point of time. So just focusing on the session is good enough. Nothing else is required. All right. So with that background, let's jump into the session. So my name is Mahesh Kumar. You can address me as Mahesh. So welcome to again day one in our Google Cloud Platforms Cloud Architect training, and it's a customized training. So why it is a customized training, you will understand it as we progress in our day-wise sessions. So first of all, what is the takeaway for you right away from this training? So there are two things which you are going to do it. So, and I have tried to divide it into two parts: pre-certification and post-certification. So let me just get my highlighter here. So pre-certification, this is the current stage we all are in currently. So in this stage, what we will do is, during the course we will try to understand all GCP products and services, right from what is a virtual machine to a complex stuffs like what is big table, what is BigQuery, how it works, how networking works. Everything we are going to learn from the concept wise. What is it? What is the use case? When should you use all those things? Plus, we'll also do lots of hands-on demos. So demos is going to be done by my side, and I'll tell you how you can also do the demo at your side at a later point of time. And these are two important stuffs. Once we do it, there are good amount of services in GCP, so we should get hands hold on to those things. Once we do it, we have to definitely prove ourselves that we can do some mini projects, all those things. So I highly recommend, this is towards the end. Okay, so this is towards the end. I highly recommend all of you to do a mini project. Now the reason for asking you to do this is this is not a mandatory. I'm not so the entire session is driven by as an individual from my side, so it's not a part of any organization or anything. So there's no grading, no certification for attending this class. It's not those things are not there, but this is totally for your self learning purpose only. Now, so to get a better understanding yourself whether I can do implementations or not, so I strongly recommend to do two mini projects. One is cloud migration, meaning I guess most of you are coming from on premise or maybe from already some other cloud also, or maybe GCP also. uh, how do you do a migration from on premise to GCP? For example, you may be running a web application, you may be coming from a application development team, or maybe from a database or from a BI perspective. What you were doing in on-prem, why don't you do the same thing in GCP? So that's going to be the first migration. And if you are not getting any idea, please drop me a direct message in my email. I'll help you out what could be the best one. And this is not in the beginning, so this is towards the end. And that's the first migration project. I would strongly suggest you to do it. The second one is something called as born in the cloud, something which is very native. There's no migration, nothing. This application is totally born in the cloud. So two mini projects is what I highly recommend in the pre-certification stage. So this is going to make you very strong when you take up the exam. So, and the focus is on this. This is the certification which we are focusing on in the class, Cloud Architect, Professional Cloud Architect certification. Now, I also have few mini projects already in my YouTube. So if you just go to the YouTube, my YouTube channel, and search for mini, you should get at least 3 or 4 mini projects called as Stress for Win, Mount Greek, and Taramath. If you are interested, you can do it. Or if you want something very specific to your job, reach out to me. I'll help you out. So that's the first part of it. That's the first part of it. The second thing is post certification. Let's be very optimistic. After this class, you have spent a good amount of time preparing yourself, all things done. Now you go take an exam, the cloud architect exam. Afterwards what's going to be the next thing is basically your post certification. Let me just get my highlighter. Post certification, many of you may be taking the certification for multiple reasons. One could be definitely a career upgrade. So you're doing some kind of a job currently and you want to upgrade yourself to a different role, and you may be fully in on-prem and you want to take it to the cloud because cloud is really booming. That's one thing. That could be the first reason you want to do. The second one, once a career upgrade happens, you will have a pay increase. Personally, I would say that is true. This is at a individual perspective, um, and I can share my own experience this, and I have seen this happening in my own career itself. So previously, I used to work in Singapore as a pre-sales engineer. Then due to various reasons, I wanted to come back to India. So at that time, I did the certification, cloud architect. Then I got an offer in India, and believe me or not, so definitely you should be knowing the currency difference between Singapore and India. So almost like 50 times or 54 times. So I got almost the same salary which I was getting in Singapore in India, minus the amount which I was paying to the rent. So in Singapore, I did not had a house, so it was a rented house. So anyway, I'm paying it to a landlord there. So it was of nothing for me there. So it's a expenditure. So anyway, in India, I have my own house. So it was almost like a benefit. So I came back to India, so I'm with my parents. So that was a big benefit, I would say. So that's where I felt personally this certification helped me achieve what I wanted. So I was very close to my family. That's it. So that was first part. The second part is if it is for your organization. Now, if they hire you, or if you're in the current organization itself, you want to show your skill set, you are going to become an asset, is what I would say, because most of the organizations are currently in this digital transformation journey. So the last year you would have not seen most of us work from home. So at that time, so scalability was an important thing. So transforming from on-prem to GCP is an important thing. So this certification is going to help you out to give that guidelines to understand what should be the best way. And the most important, which I would say, is you are going to design and build highly scalable solutions on various using the various components which is available in GCP. So I'll talk more on this in the upcoming slides. The reason is whatever you build, it is going to run on the same infrastructure like your YouTube, Gmail, Google Maps. What is running, so on what infrastructure these end user products are running, it is on the same infrastructure even your application, your database, or your workload which you're planning to do is going to run. So scalability wise, you are going to get that level of scalability. So those are the key takeaways for you from this training, folks. And we are currently in this stage. So we should finish this part and aim for this certification. That's the key thing here. Now, some of you may ask, I come from a different background, what's a prerequisite, all those things. Now, instead of me saying something which may not be fully correct, I wanted to show the official documentation from Google itself, so that you have a little breather showing that yes, I fulfill this prerequisite. And this is the official documentation, cloud.google.com certification/cloud architect. So not any other website, official website. So if you see this official website, they mention as a cloud architect what you're going to do. So we'll talk about that in a minute, your roles and responsibility after you finish your certification. So what are the things which you're going to do? And they also mention about the certification, the duration, blah, 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 which we are going to talk at a later point of time. But this is the most important thing for now. So let me just zoom this for your better view. Prerequisites is none. So if you are totally coming from a non-cloud background, no problem. So the only recommendation is you have at least 3+ years of experience in the IT industry, folks. In the IT industry, where you know what is a browser, what is a Linux command, how do I run a virtual machine, what is a database. It could be any database. So those basic stuffs, if you know, it's all good. And they also mentioned to take up the exam, you should have 1 year experience in designing. So that's what we are going to gain now. So the entire training is going to be for 15 weeks. So you will spend at least 4 weeks. So it's going to be close to something like 3 months, 4 months kind of a stuff. So you'll be almost there, is what I would say. So your burning question is my prerequisite. So I guess many of you called me directly. So I had told there's no prerequisite. So it was from my mouth, but you're seeing it from the official documentation there. So hope it is clear there. I'll just pause it here for any questions, folks. This was the first slide. I just wanted to make you as comfortable as possible before we proceed further with the prerequisites, all those things. Um, any questions, folks? Okay. I'll take silence for my advantage. No questions at any point of time. It's a very small group, folks. Don't hesitate. And I don't have a constraint of time. So how long? So I have taken multiple classes. A few classes have taken more than the expected time, because if it's through an organization or a training organization, we have to finish it within that stipulated time. The whole intent of this class is you should get the concept. and that's very, very important. That is a key part, and I'm very much particular about it. And any questions you ask, I'll try to answer it. If I don't get an answer to it, I'll definitely make sure I'll answer it in the upcoming session. So that's a key part there. So the focus for this training is primarily on this cloud architect. This is the one which we are focusing on. Now we are just going to get us a glimpse of why this cloud architect only, why it is so important. To just give you that understanding, let me show you the other GCP certifications which is available and why this is something very, very unique. The one which we are going through, not just because we are getting trained, it's very unique, but there is some specific reasons for that also. So to make this very clear, right, I tried to avoid referring back to the last year. It may not be a memorable year for many of us, but just wanted to take that last year's instance there. So last year for everyone, the hotspot or the heaven sweet place to live was our home. Home sweet home was a thing. So and for everybody, building or having a own house is like a dream, is what I understand. So even for me, that was one of my goals. So let's take that same example, home sweet home example. Assume you have planning to have your own house. It could be an independent house, villa, a flat, whatever it is. You have all the necessary financial stuffs for it. So you have the necessary budget, the home loan, everything you have applied, everything is ready. Now it's the next part is you have to start, maybe like an independent house would be a better choice here, or maybe a flat also is okay. Now if you have the financial stuffs ready, what is the first thing which you are going to do? You're going to say, the kitchen should be like this, the living room should be like this, I should have a duplex, all those things is what going to come to your mind. So whom you are going to reach out to for this, folks? If you were to build a house, a dream house of your choice, architect, uh, civil engineer or an architect is what you are going to basically do. So the same thing is what you are also going to do. So the first part is plan and design. To plan and design your house, you need to have an architect. Similarly, to plan and design your various components in GCP, you're going to use basically, you need to have the skills. That is where the certification, professional cloud architect comes into picture. Now, once you have got a blueprint from the civil engineer or from the architect, what is the next thing which you're going to do? For a minute, let's go and think as if it is like an independent house. So what is the most important thing for a house, folks? The blueprint is given. Afterwards, you're going to lay the foundation, right? Those foundations, the pillars, all those things you're going to do. That's the most important thing, right? How deep you go, 7 feet or something like that, they have a number. So that you can have multiple floors easily. So the foundation is very important. What's important for a cloud is network. So the network design is very, very important. I can make a very, very bold statement saying that without network, there's no cloud. Be it Google Cloud Platform, Azure, AWS, there's nothing going to be there. So network is very, very important. Now, this is going to be the foundation. So that is where this certification called as professional network engineer comes into picture, similar to our foundation for our house. Now, once you have laid the foundation, everything is good. You are starting building it. At the same time, the house which we build should be also very safe from any earthquakes or any kind of natural calamity stuffs. Similarly, it should be also safe from any kind of attacks basically. So the security also plays a major role. So similarly in cloud, security is also an important thing. So when you start building the architecture, it should also have security in place. It's not that after you finish the entire architecture, you try to put security features on top of it. That's not going to work. It has to be part of the design itself. And that is going to be designed by cloud architect. And who is going to implement it for us? It's going to be the security engineer, professional cloud security engineer. And These three have a special unique combination, which I'm going to talk towards the end. So now we have a blueprint, we have laid the foundation, we have also made it secure. Then what else? Go start doing the implementation. Now, if you take the house example, now this is where the people come in and start building the house. So lay bricks, cement, all those things are going to come. So you're going to build some pipeline. The similar thing here in GCP or in any cloud is going to be you do some ETL, extract, transform, load kind of stuffs. You build some pipelines. You want to do some AI stuffs, machine learning stuffs. So that's where a specific certification called as professional data engineer comes into picture. Now, once you have done this, this is basically the back end stuff, pipelines, all those things. Nobody is going to see the back end. So everybody wants to have a very cool website, a very cool app running. So for that, you need to design some applications also, or a BI stuffs. So that's where a certification called as professional cloud developer, who's going to write code in a language which is expected. It could be Java, Python, all those things. This is professional cloud developer. Now the application is built, meaning this is basically like the cosmetics of your house. So interior decoration, all those things. So how an interior decoration team does it, the same thing an app development team does it. Now everything is good. Backend is running, the front end is running with a very nice stuff. How do you operationalize it? Everything is good. Now you have to operationalize it, the entire infrastructure. So that's where DevOps comes into picture, and there is a specific certification which Google offers called as Professional Cloud DevOps Engineer. Now everything is done. The architecture which you gave as a cloud architect has been implemented successfully by various team, network engineer, security engineer, data engineer, cloud developer, and DevOps engineer. Now, all good. Now, this is like you have built your house perfectly fine. Everything is good. Now, you want to have somebody to monitor the house. It could be a CCTV, or it could be a person, a security person or something, who wants to keep monitoring if there's any issues or anything happens with the house. The same thing, any issues or anything, monitoring, support, all those things, ongoing support. That's where a specific certification called as associate cloud engineer comes into picture. uh, Now people with AWS background slightly think, okay, this is associate, should I start with this one? I strongly suggest, if you are planning to take associate one, spend 30 days more and take a professional cloud architect this thing. So this is because in AWS there are different certifications available, levels. Associate is like a junior level, professional is like a senior level. But in GCP, the entire GCP, there's only one associate certification, which is associate cloud engineer. Many people think I should take that because AWS has been there for a long time. It has created a buzz, all those things. So now people, if they're thinking of GCP, they think, let me start with an associate. I would strongly suggest no, that's not the approach. Prefer to use cloud architect, because it's first thing professional. The grade is slightly higher. If you can spend 60 days to learn associate engineer, why don't you spend 30 more days and become a cloud architect? That's what I'm going to say. And it's not only because we are doing a session, I'm emphasizing on it, but there are a few other points also which I wanted to share in the next slide. uh, so how many certification do we need? Programming skills, that's going to be the next slide which I'm going to talk about. Now the most important thing in this entire stuff is, I would say, this one. Because if you don't have a blueprint, you cannot do anything. So this is technically, if you see, that is where we are starting at. And we give a blueprint which is very, very reliable, robust, which is going to work, which is going to have DR plans, all those things. So now, to answer one of the question, of these certifications, which one requires a programming skills? So let's get that answered in our next slide. So this is just a summary to quickly give you that stuff, what should require a programming skills. The first and the important thing which we are focusing does not require any programming skills. You don't need to be a Java developer, a .NET developer, or a PHP developer. So if you are coming from an infrastructure background, enterprise architects, that's going to be easier. Or if you come from a software background also, that's going to be an benefit also. Basically you expect to have some Linux skills. If you don't come from a Linux background, no worries. We will be teaching it in the class throughout it, specifically to GCP. So the Linux exposure is going to be really helpful. If you don't have it also, no problem. But no programming experience is required. So you can have a little breather. So if you're not coming from this background, so cloud architect is going to be a good one. Similarly, network engineer and security engineer does not require any programming experience. But if you come from a background like, okay, what should be the best practice of security? So if you have looked into some benchmarking tools, something like uh, CIS kind of stuffs, benchmarking stuffs, then NIST benchmarks, you come from that background and you want to use the best practices, that's going to be helpful. And the commonality between these three are no programming experience is required. Then is where a data engineer comes, where you are going to create your pipelines, all those things. It requires a heavy program experience, preferably in a language called as Python. So, and we are not focusing on this in this class, but the concepts which we are going to discuss will help you out if you are planning to do it. If you come from a background, programming background, if you prefer to take this, your choice. But next certification, now once you finish this, you will definitely get motivated. So I have seen many other learners in the previous batch, they clear it and they call me, Mahesh, I have cleared it, what's the next thing which I should do? I'm in a good what I'm excited, I want to continue this journey. So I usually suggest, ask them, what's your comfort? When you can write a code, you can take something like these things. If you cannot write a code, you want to stay in that high level this thing, network engineer or security engineer is going to be a good thing, because these things are going to help you out to make you become more cloud architect, more stronger. And in our class, we are going to cover basically 40% of what is discussed in a network engineer certification. Similarly, 40% of security engineer. So you're almost there. It's only that some more concepts, if you learn, you can get 2 more certifications in your bag. So, and the reasons, it does not require any coding. It's more of concepts, best practices. For data engineer, having an exposure is very, very important. I also take this currently due to the workload. I'm not able to take this. The next one is developer. Again, a good exposure, but in a programming language where you can write, build web applications. DevOps, exposure on Jenkins, Terraform would be important, and this is becoming very popular these days, is what I have seen. Associate engineer, if you know how to use monitoring tools, all those things, that's going to be helpful. So to answer Vivek's question, the bottom three would expect, the bottom four would expect some programming stuffs, but the top three does not require anything. Okay, so this is from the technical perspective, how you see the different certification. And I have seen in LinkedIn, you can see it yourself. There are 10x people, like 10x GCP certified. And I have seen recently a post basically where one person in 21 months took 21 certifications, not only in GCP, in AWS, Azure, all those things. So I would say the goal should not be that. Some people may be behind that, but if you are taking it for a career upgrade, all those things, focus on one certification, excel in it. So that's going to be the best way, is what I would suggest. And the best one to start one is going to be cloud architect, and we have seen the reasons for it. And I also wanted to give you a real this thing, these are based on my understanding. Now if you just go search for top 20, top 15 IT paying jobs in 2021, 2020, 2019, you'll get a survey created by Global Knowledge, and it's going to show very clearly professional cloud architect. This is actually, the survey was taken mostly in US. It's going to apply heavily for US people, but in my own career, being in the Asia part, I have seen this also has impacted. The Singapore example which I mentioned is another real example I can quote. from my side itself. So this is something official or something from a survey, a third party survey. You can easily take it. And the so-called the number one, number two cloud providers are not in the top. Basically, the top one is Google Cloud Architect. So this is just to motivate you that you have decided a right certification is what I would suggest. All right. Any questions on this, folks, so far? So hope the flow is going good. You are getting the prerequisite, what is required, all those details. Any questions so far, folks? The first day would be little slow. I wanted to understand your pace, all those things. Good. Thank you. Now, let's be very optimistic. 3 months down the line, you finish this course. One more month you take for again preparing up everything, just refreshing all those things. Maybe on the fifth month or so. I need to be very realistic. I will not say you take this, you will finish it. You also have to put a good amount of effort doing your demos, practicing it at least every day, 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Do some concept in GCP. So that's where you are going to do it. So, and let me be very frank, the entire training is going to just give you around 65 to 70% of the concept. I will teach you everything, but if you don't do it at your side, I would say you will not be able to get hands on to it. So practice it, do the demos, think of some use cases which you want to do it. So that's very important. So that's where you're going to become 100% prepared for the certification. And also behind the scene you would have also already become a cloud architect, because 4 months, 5 months you would have done a good amount of exposure. You continue it now. Being optimistic, you finish the exam, clear it in one shot, then you get an offer, or maybe in your current organization get itself you may get a promotion to a different role. Now what would be your day-to-day work? What are you going to do basically is, so as a cloud architect you are going to design, develop proof of concepts usually, and manage robust secure applications there, where it's highly scalable. uh, by doing this entire design, what you're going to achieve is, from the business perspective, they can take business decisions easily. So okay, this architecture is going to suit us very well. It's going to be highly scalable. Definitely we are able to fulfill our business requirement. It could be an e-commerce website, it could be a gaming application, or it could be from healthcare. So you're going to get this designed very well, and it is robust. There's one question: will we cover all the services provided by GCP? Most of them, from a cloud architect perspective, Mohammad Mansoor. So that is the main part, because as a cloud architect, right, you should know each and every product. And we will not discuss some products which is in beta or in alpha stage. So the product has to be stable. From the exam perspective, if you see, if the product is not in generally available state, you will not get this product in the exam. So anything which is generally available, we will discuss it in our class, and that's the reason 105 hours which we are taking. So that's going to be your role. So you're going to primarily design in very, very simple terms. If I say, you should be in a position to do small proof of concepts, and you will be in that position once we finish this, because we are going to do lots of demonstration. You'll get used to it. Then design it. What block should come to next block? Like for example, after a data, maybe you have a front end application, an app. How does the app interact over the database? So should app, after the app, should a middle tier come, then a database should come, or is it vice versa, or different ways? So what is the flow? Which component should connect to which component is what we are going to make it very, very clear here. That is the most important thing. So if there's one component which does not have an input source, using that in the architecture could be a wrong design. So what should be the best design, what should be the wrong design, all those things we are going to learn, and that is what you are going to do in the rest of your life as a cloud architect, if you want to continue as a cloud architect. And designing is going to be very, very important. Okay, so that's going to be your role. Now, a little bit about yourself. So I would strongly, before I ask these questions, I would strongly suggest you to change your chat window to private. to only to me or to the presenter, so that only the response I can only see it. If you feel you don't want to share the skills stuff with others, so I would suggest to make it as private. So I'm just going to make a small demarcation so that anything above this is what I'm going to see. Please change it if you prefer to do it. So I wanted to understand something. I have call with few of you, so I understand which background you come from. But holistically, if I can understand it, because I had heard it from different people, I can get a mind map. The first thing, so what is your skill set with respect to cloud? B for beginner, I for intermediate, and E for expert. So I don't want you to type a big name. BIE, that should be good enough, folks. So beginner is more, intermediate is pure. Okay, so I see some people have some exposure in uh, Azure and all. Good to know. Beginner is what I get most of time. So good to know some people are coming from AWS background. Okay, the first question, folks. Let's go with the first question. No coding, don't worry. So don't worry about that. So first question, I understand that most of you are coming from beginner or intermediate. In intermediate, I understand some of you have AWS and Azure cloud. So that's good to know. So some of you already answered the second question. Thank you for that. Uh, Now I wanted to put a delimiter uh, or a demarcation line. The third question. So if it's beginner, there's no point in me asking whether you have AWS or Azure background. People who were intermediate, they also answered they are coming from some AWS and Azure background. That's good. What I wanted to share here is the class is entirely on GCP, but I can assure you 100% that at least 1% or 2% of AWS concepts, 1% or 2% of Azure concepts you are going to gain in the class itself. Because every module when we discuss, I will at least make one slide and say, what is the equivalent of this in AWS or Azure? The reason is you are focusing primarily on GCP, but not every time the customer may be comfortable with GCP. They may be in AWS. They want to come to GCP. Now, when you talk to the customer, when all the requirement comes, you look into it, and if you see all AWS concept terms, you should be able to do a mind map. Okay, if it is EC2, it is nothing but a virtual machine in GCP. So 2%, 1% AWS concepts and Azure concepts are also you're going to learn. And I don't have a heavy experience with it, but I have done some exposure, some POCs, couple of implementations. I can share my own thoughts also during the class. So learning from, okay, will we get a recordings of this and how to access? Okay, I had mentioned this already. So you will be getting a recorded of this session. That is the whole purpose, and this recorded session is going to be a lifetime access. It's going to be uploaded in a private YouTube playlist, so you are going to access it via your Gmail ID, which you shared with me. Folks who have shared a Outlook, Hotmail, if you can send me an alternative Gmail ID, it would be good, because I've never tried giving access to a Hotmail or a Outlook to a YouTube video. I've never tried it, but I can give a try and ask you to check it out. But a Gmail would be preferred, and the access is lifetime access. You can play it on any of your favorite device. Okay, so the third question, folks, let me just put this demarcation so that I get it. Anybody worked on any big data technologies like Hadoop, Spark, Edgebase, all those stuffs? I heard one from someone. So no, Hadoop is some of you have worked on. Good. So people who have worked on Hadoop can share your experience during the big data class, so that it's going to be good. So have a conceptual understanding. Good to know. So good, no problem. We will learn this in our class. Thanks for those inputs. And the last question, and the scaring question, but it's not an important thing, but I just wanted to get an idea from you, so that whenever we see sometimes, right, I may use a code. The reason for using a code is to show you make you understand the concept, but not to scare you from showing us code. So that's the only reason. So uh, are you comfortable writing a code? It could be even a Linux script also. Does not need to be always Python, Java, anything. So good to know some of you can write code. And if you don't give a response, I'll take it as no. Simple. Shell scripting, good. Shell scripting, good. Good, folks. So now I get an understanding the pulse of the stuffs. That's good. Thanks for all those feedback or inputs. That's going to be helpful. Now, a little bit about myself. So I understood about where you come from. So a little bit about myself. So I have around 15 years of experience in the IT industry, and of which 5+ or 4+ years I've been working with Google Cloud. And I have worked in different roles. I come from a developer's background, so I write Java code, Python code even today. So as a software engineer, sales engineer, solution architect, and the last role which I held was a vice president of technology in a Google partner organization, not in Google partner organization. Have a great passion towards Google products. That too, the most favorite product for me is search engine. So Google search engine. So that's where my entire career started, with a search engine. I have a great passion towards that. I have done various implementations, which is like cloud migration, built various born in the cloud applications. Then a couple of AI stuffs also I have done. And I have worked on various big data products and analytics. When I mention big data, I usually mention it very clearly. I'm not from a Hadoop background. I'm not from those Spark background. But big data in my context is not only Hadoop, but it is also on unstructured information, like video. The audio which you're listening now is also an unstructured information. How do I process that unstructured information and get insights out of it? Those are the kinds of works which I used to work. Uh, Transforming a video into an analytics, like if it's a CCTV footage, what is there in the video, get insights out of it. That kind of analytics I used to work on. So that's what I usually call it as big data, because um, the size of a video is definitely going to be huge. So how do I get analytics out of it? And the last and the most important thing, which I feel is only if you learn something, and only if you start sharing it, then only your learning is going to become much better, because you would have learned some concept uh, in some context. Now if you share it with somebody, they are going to give their perspective, and you are going to start thinking in that also, in that angle also. So that's where I felt sharing the knowledge is very important. So that's where I started my own YouTube channel. I guess most of your okay, folks, you are able to hear me. uh, okay, I guess if somebody is not able to hear, please check your internet connectivity. Thank you. So uh, so because I felt sharing the knowledge is going to be helpful for me to improve also, and also the community to also get some stuffs. That's where I started my own channel. And I guess most of you are already aware that I have a channel, and most of you came from the channel uh, to this course, is what my understanding is. And I also have 4 certifications. The first certification which I took was not cloud architect, folks, because I come from a developer's background. So I was zero in the infrastructure part. So I felt for me, data engineer was easier because I come from the Java Python experience. I took this. Afterwards, I can share my own real experience here. So after this, I had a call with one of the biggest organization, my dream company, Google. So I had got a call from Google. So after the certification, um, then went through the interview process, all those things. Then I was not selected. The reason was Google is really good. So the HR is really good actually. If usually if you not don't clear it, they don't even call you back. Normal process. But Google is totally different. So the HR called me and told, Mahesh, your skills in GCP is really good, but what you lack is the infrastructure part. So your infrastructure skill has to be upgraded, is what they told. Meaning how a network works, the infrastructure works. So then that's where it hinted me, okay, why don't I take a professional cloud architect, head towards that. So that's where I started working on it, self study, and The video is not stopped, so it's on the slide which I have. Maybe Mangesh, you can check at your side. Maybe you have some network issues. So then I improved my infrastructure skills. Um, that was becoming good. Then again I got a call actually, after I finish not infrastructure, networking engineer, two certifications. After again I got a call where I was able to clear all the technical rounds, but the final round was something called as googliness, so which I was not able to clear it. Uh, Hoping I'll get sometimes one call, once a call, maybe I can land that dream job basically. So, but the feedback which they gave helped me to create, improve my infrastructure skills basically. And the reason why I took network engineering is, without a network, there's no cloud. So having an exposure on networking engineer is going to be important. And also, how can I secure it fully? For that, security engineer, I felt it's going to be important. So out of those four, three does not require coding. And I usually suggest people with cloud architect to have network engineering and security engineering also. And 40% we are going to cover in the class. And you would have also got molded to that style. I would say you can do 60% self-study itself. You don't need to have any course. 60% if you study yourself, you can clear the network and security engineer there. Okay, so that's something about myself, folks. Now coming to the prerequisite, what you need to install on your laptop, desktop, all those things. What are the skills which required for you to start it? So basic familiarity with cloud computing is what I'm expecting. And if you don't come from that experience, no problem, we'll explain it. But don't expect me to put a small slide like what is cloud computing. You have definitely got it. You can search it in net, you'll get it. But I would like to put a slide which I can explain in very, very simple terms. I will never put what is cloud computing. That kind of a slide will never be seen there in this thing. Familiarity is expected, but if you don't have it, we'll definitely make sure you understand the concept. Basic familiarity with Linux commands, how a CP command, copy works, how do I SSH. We are going to basically look into it. Uh, yeah, Mangesh, is there a question you want to ask? Uh, Only you are not able to hear, Mangesh. Others mentioned they are able to hear it. Uh, Maybe check trying it connecting from some mobile device or something. uh, Others mentioned they are able to hear it. Maybe something at your side, network, mic, or sorry, the headphone or something. Give a try, please. Maybe the best thing is restart your laptop. Sometimes it can do that, this thing. So coming back to the skills, some of our concepts, right, expects to know some, to write a code or something. Like, sorry, I'm going to use a code to explain the concept. So I'm going to use something called as Node.js. And I'm not expecting you to be an proficient or a beginner or anything. So I'm going to use this code to show you some concepts. So optionally, and if you prefer to learn this, it's going to be good. As an additional, it's going to be another feather in your hat. uh, uh, but if you don't want, if you want to stay away from it, no problem. So this is only to understand the concept there. From the software perspective, I would strongly prefer to use Chrome browser. Google Cloud Platform, Google's Chrome browser go hand in hand. It's going to be helpful. If you are not a fan of Chrome browser, no problem. You can use any of your favorite browser like Mozilla Firefox or Internet Edge, or Safari. It should be also possible to work, so no much glitches. But don't use Internet Explorer 9, 10, those kind of browsers. Those are dead browsers, so it's not going to work. The interface itself is not going to work there. So, and the optional one, if you are using your own personal laptop, uh, definitely I would prefer you to use this cloud SDK. It's going to be helpful in sometimes, and I'll also show you my own real experience with this cloud SDK, how it came handy when I was working in Capgemini, how it helped me there. I'll share you that. But if you're using an organizational laptop where they have put a restriction of not to install anything, they monitor what you install, all those things, stay away from it. Nothing required. Only a Chrome browser is good enough. So that is the only prerequisite to have a browser. That's the beauty of cloud. If you just have browser, everything you can do it in GCP at least. I'm not sure of other cloud, but in GCP with just a Chrome browser, you can learn the complete stuffs. That's the beauty. So that's about the prerequisite. Now, the approach which we wanted to take basically, there are three approaches which I would see. The first approach is basically listen through the entire session. So, and the live demos. Every demo which we do are going to be live. Maybe one or two would be a recorded video because of some quota issue, I'm not able to do that. So 99% of the demos are going to be live. The reason why I do live demos is only because it's going to be very interactive and you're going to see the most updated screen, and we will break the system. So we will try to break the system, and if we break it, we will also learn how to fix it. So the debugging skill also we are going to learn. So if an infrastructure breaks, if this breaks, how should I do it? So that's going to be an important thing, because if I show a very canned demo which always works, you're not going to learn anything there. So okay, you understand the concept, but sometimes if we make mistake, how do I debug it? So that is something which you are going to learn. So that's the reason why we are going to do heavy live demos. And post the session, definitely I'm going to post this video, private video, so you should be able to look into it. What I would recommend is you'd have gone through the almost like 3.5 hours of session, so you would have grasped good amount of knowledge. Go try to do the demonstration yourself. Don't look into the video. You will definitely make mistakes. Try looking into some documentation, official documentation. Then if you still not able to do it, then look into the video. The video is anyway there at your in your account. At any point of time you can look into it. But the whole reason why I'm asking you to do the demo yourself is you are going to learn more concepts there. So that is a key part there. So this is a recommended approach. In the beginning, it may look slightly difficult, but I have seen it has worked for many of the learners. This is the first approach. And the demos are going to be little raw. So I'm not going to say uh, every stuff's like, it's not going to be like more like a spoon feeding. So it's going to be very raw steps. Anything where there require some scripts or any specific commands, I'm going to mention that very specifically. But very basic steps, I'm not going to mention it. But if you expect some kind of a very a proper steps, well guided steps, then I would say quick labs is going to be one option which you can try. And the trick which you should use here is quick labs is provided by Google. Now if you are attending Google events very regularly, you will get some free quotas, all those things. You can use those quick labs. Another option which I usually use is quick lab gives you good amount of concepts, steps, everything easily. You can try the labs easily. So if you don't have a credit, you can use quick labs plus free trial. Actually, it's not tier, free trial account. What is a GCP free trial account? I'm going to mention that. I'll show you a demo itself. So using which you can do a combination. Look all the steps from quick labs. Try that in your free trial account. It's not tier. Just going to update it. It's a free trial account. You can try it there. So where you get a well guided steps. But I would strongly suggest to do it in a raw format, because sometimes I have done trainings for corporates also. When we do something with this quick labs, right? The people who are taking the training just copy paste the command and simply run it. They're just copy pasting and running the thing, and they don't get what's really happening behind the scene. So this is approach two. But if you prefer that kind of a stuff, well guided stuff, you can prefer to do this. And the last one is only if you have a infrastructure like that, dual monitor or triple monitor, whatever it is, in your house, and you want to do parallelly, do it. I highly recommend not to go with approach 3. The reason is when I'm doing a demo, you're also trying to do the demo together. The focus is more towards getting the demo running, not on what is the concept which we are going to show you. So but if you prefer to do it, it's your choice. So the recommended option from me is approach 1, listen through. Just listen through, understand the concept, and if you are a person who likes to take some notes on a paper and pen or on some notepad or anything, you can take it. But listen through it and recollect it by doing yourself a demo is a better approach. That way you are going to become a judge for yourself. You'll understand, okay, how much I have got the concept, is what I would recommend, folks. Now those are the approach. Now what we will do is, this is where that was just based on a teaser kind of a stuff. Now is where we are going to look into our course overview. So in this journey of 15 weeks, we are going to look into the various concepts. First, introduction to Google Cloud Platform, what is Cloud IAM, various compute options. All these terms maybe for some people may look like Greek and Latin. Don't worry. So we are going to go through each and everything. So what are the various compute options, storage, networking, artificial intelligence, big data concepts. And that's the reason I asked how many people come with big data background. And we'll also do some migration to GCP kind of session. And the last one is going to be the important one where we prepare ourselves for the cloud architect exam. Now the duration wise, each module, and this is what I had mentioned in the link. Yeah, most of you would have seen this. So the first module which we are going to start today is going to go around 6 hours, where 40% is going to be concepts, 60% is going to be demo. I am a firm believer that if we do lots of demos, the concept becomes very clear and it registers very well in our brain, is what I feel. So cloud IAM is one of the most important thing. It's like an horizontal. Till the last day, we are going to learn cloud IAM, to be very frank. So everywhere cloud IAM is going to come. So it's a very big topic. I have seen very other courses where they keep it very short, but I feel this is a very important one. So 12 hours we are going to spend. Compute options. What is a virtual machine? What is a Kubernetes engine? So, and if you don't come from a background of what is Docker, all those things, we are also going to see what is a Docker, how to build a Docker file, and then containerize all those things. So that's the reason you see it as heavy, almost like uh, 24 hours is what we are going to spend, a good amount of time on this part. This is going to be your fundamentals. So till module 5 is going to be very hardcore fundamentals there. Once we have those fundamentals right, the remaining module 6 to 10 is going to be like a cakewalk for us, because the concept is very clear. We can go a little faster there. So total it's going to be roughly around 105 hours, folks. So which comes to roughly around 15 weeks there. Now what we'll do is we'll have our first break. It's almost an hour. So before we start our first module, the previous one was module 0, basically setting up the expectations, what you can have, what we are going to learn, all those things. So we'll take a break, a 10 minutes break. Once we come back from the break, we will start with our first module, Introduction to Google Cloud Platform. Okay, so I'll stop the recording. You can take a break, and once you're back from the break, we will resume back, and I'll put a timer. So once the timer comes to 0, please make sure you start attending it. So let me stop.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, folks. So before we go to our first module, which is Introduction to Google Cloud Platform, so just wanted to know, is there any questions so far? Burning questions, anything, the approach, anything so far? And there are no questions, we'll just proceed further. So I'll take silence as no, there's no questions. If you have anything, let me know. Or if it pops up later, no problem, let me know. Happy to answer it. So I don't see any questions. So let's start with our first module, which is Introduction to Google Cloud Platform, where we are going to understand what is GCP, Google Cloud Platform, the history, all those stuffs. Then we'll slowly move into the specific components. So thank you for the confirmation. So first of all, what is Google Cloud Platform? So GCP in short. So it is a suite of cloud computing services offered by Google. Uh, lots of services are there, almost like close to 200 plus services are there. Now the most important thing compared to other cloud providers are um, these services, virtual machine, database, we'll see n number of such services. All the services run on the same infrastructure that Google uses internally for their end user products. So what are the products which Google uses? YouTube, Gmail, Google Maps, Chrome, all those things which you see, they run on some specific infrastructure, right? Google's infrastructure. Even GCP stuffs also run on the same infrastructure. Now, what is the biggest advantage of this? So you get the same scale, same kind of support, same kind of robustness which you get it in YouTube, in Gmail, in your Google search. The same kind of robustness you can get from the infrastructure perspective. So how frequently, except the last years, towards the December time, there was a downtime, global downtime. Apart from that, we have never seen such global downtime in GCP, in Google, basically. So that itself proves how robust their infrastructure is. So you can have a very awesome application running. You can have a very awesome application running, but if the infrastructure fails, where it is running, if the virtual machine on which it is running, if it fails, then you cannot do anything, right? So here in GCP, the infrastructure is going to be highly scalable. So, and the big advantage is whatever you do, something like you can aim like building the next YouTube on the same infrastructure. So that is the biggest benefit which you get with GCP. So it's a suite of cloud computing services offered by Google, but the key part which I highly emphasize is it runs on the same infrastructure. That's the beauty. And you can think of n number of services, Google has it. So the simplest thing, it could be a virtual machine, a database, a uh, storage component, um, big data component, everything is there. And Google started their journey in 2007, 2008-ish. They started their journey, and when they started their journey, right, it was a different approach altogether. They did not start with virtual machines. So usually most of the cloud providers start with offering virtual machines. As a virtual machines usually, but Google started with something called as app engine, which was basically platform as a service, meaning you provide us the code, Java code, .NET code, PHP code, whatever the code, we will host it and we will manage it for you. You don't need to worry about the infrastructure going down, maintaining it, all those things. This was in 2008 itself, folks. So, but at that time, most of the industry was not so mature. So where they were expecting to have virtual machines, Google was giving you something called as platform as a service. So people did not realize that, and that was one of the reasons why Google did not make its this thing very soon. So even today, you still see it is like number three in the market share, and we'll see some of the reasons why it can become number one in the next few slides. So they started, and they also admitted that we started with an approach which was not something which people or the custom users felt would be helpful. So when they're expecting virtual machines, if you're giving them something better than that, people did not appreciate it. So give what they want was the thing. At that time, AWS was doing good, so that's the reason their market share is still number one. But we'll see a few more reasons in the upcoming slides which will make it very clear why GCP has a better future. We'll talk about that. So that's GCP. It is on the same infrastructure these all services run. That is a key part which you should remember. Now let's look into minimum 4 points why Google Cloud Platform. Why one should look into Google Cloud Platform. So what is so good about it? What is so cool feature about this Google Cloud Platform? And these 4 points, and there are a number of points which we can talk for the entire day, but let me take the top 4 reasons which can be really an important, which can also make Google the number one cloud provider in the next 1 to 2 years. That is what we wanted to see. The reason is, now if you prepare yourself, you are preparing it. Now you will be by 1 to 1 year, 2.5 years, you will be well versed with GCP. Now you will have a better future at that time. So you are preparing it for the future is what I would say. The four reasons are trust and security, open cloud platform, global network, and AI driven. So all these 4 points will go in detail slide by slide, and that will give us a better picture of these four important points, why it is very, very important and why it makes Google as a differentiator from other cloud provider. The first and the foremost thing is trust and security. So what does this basically mean is very, very simple. Trust nothing by default. Even it's like even if it is a virtual machine which is there in your Google Cloud platform, there is one more virtual machine. Two virtual machines need to interact each other. You don't need to trust. You cannot trust because it is in GCP. I don't need. I cannot easily trust it. So basically, they use this policy. Trust nothing by default. Every time you want to do some communication between another service, it could be a virtual machine and a database. You don't need to trust it. First, you need to authenticate. Then only you are allowed to communicate. So this is their basic fundamental principle Google follows, not only in GCP, in every other Google products they use. GCP is also one of their Google products, just for your information. So end-to-end encryption by default turned on. So now you may feel like this is more like a marketing feature, end-to-end encryption. But as we see the various features, you will understand it. Wherever any data comes into picture, storage, any kind of data, whether you store it in a database or in something like a Dropbox kind of storage options, which you're going to see, encryption is turned on by default. So if you are really new to encryption, you don't need to worry itself. Google takes care of it by default for you. That is by default. That's a cool feature. But if you are slightly an advanced security person, you want to have your own encryption keys, all those things, then Google also provides you that option. So by default itself, if you are a startup organization or if you are learning GCP for the first time, you don't need to worry about the encryption yourself. They are going to take care of that for you, and it is turned on by default. That's the second advantage which you get in this trust and security part. And the third important thing is how many times have you seen forget about the downtime, the December downtime which happened, uh, forget about that, that's downtime. But how many times have you heard Google products being breached, uh, information leaked, some attack? I would say very, very minimal. The reason why this happens is basically there are almost like good number of security engineers who work day in, day out. Almost like 1,000 plus now. This slide was slightly old, so 700 plus security engineers across the world working dedicated for GCP Google. Now it's going to be close to 1,000 if I'm not wrong. So these are dedicated engineers who work on this day in, day out to find out any vulnerabilities, any malwares, all those things. So in 2018, when this ransomware and meltdown vulnerabilities came, right, uh, Google Cloud was there still at that time. And at the same time, if you just go search, you should be able to get that news there. AWS products, they had to down their service for patching uh, this vulnerability. But Google, right, GCP, they did not do anything. They did not need to down their services. A downtime was not even required for them because they had patched it behind the scene itself. They were the first person to find it out first, and they were able to fix this thing and without any downtime. The credit is because there is a good amount of security engineers who's working on this. They find out this well in advance, they patch it. So that's one thing. And they also take any product when there's one question, let me finish it and answer it. Any service which they build, right, they take first security in place. They take the security layer first and then start building on top of it. Um, Usually I use this word, the security should be in the DNA. It should be in the blood. So that's what I would say. It should not be like outside. It should not be like a dress. dress or a nuts and bolts kind of a stuff. So it should be in the DNA. What Google follows is right from the hardware level, they have the security in place, and they also use a chip called as Titan. So if you just search in the internet, you'll get some good articles on a chip called as Titan right from the hardware. So they embed this and take the security to the utmost care. So it's in their DNA. And the same principle is what you also should follow when you are doing something with building any solution. Keep the security thing first. That's where that cloud IAM second module comes into picture. This is the first reason why to go with Google Cloud Platform. There's one question: Is there any different? Is there any benefit of using self-provided keys for encryption? Uh, Instead of calling it as self-provided keys, I would call it as customer. You are the customer. You have created your own key. You wanted to use it. So one benefit which you get is even Google cannot decrypt it. Say, for example, let's take a simple example, a hypothetical scenario. The question is key, the encryption key. If it is turned on by default, the key is managed by Google for you. So they generate it, they manage it for you. Everything is managed there. But in some scenarios, let's assume there's some scam or something. Now, there's one organization who's using Google Cloud Platform. Just an hypothetical scenario, folks. Please don't take me wrong. A hypothetical scenario, there's one customer or an organization called as ABC. Uh, then they have some scam or something. Now the government, uh, the security agency or whatever, the government wanted to look all their data. Now, if they have used default service, the default encryption option, they send out, they reach out to Google saying that uh, there is an issue, there's some scam going on with this organization. We want to look into their data completely because it's a government order. Maybe with all the legal stuffs, Google can share those data. Now they can read the data easily because the key was in Google itself. Now, if you don't want this to happen, you generate your own key, encryption key, and you encrypt it. Now, the same scenario if it happens, even if the government asks Google, Google can give the data, but they cannot read the data because it's encrypted and the key is not in Google's infrastructure, it is with you. That is the only benefit which you get if you are creating your own key, Aman. Um, but one drawback is you have to manage the key. If you lose the key, nobody in the world can decrypt the data unless you are a super hacker. Hope that answers your question, Aman. So the question was the benefit of using a self-generated key. What is the benefit over Google's default option turned on? So the first reason, security, trust and security. So this is one important thing, and right from startups to the biggest enterprise, they expect their solution to be secure. So that's the first reason why you should go, and it is very, very secure compared to others. For example, those meltdown ransom incidents can give you a better picture that yes, it is going to be much robust than the other thing. And if you compare it with data centers, right? I have been in customers' place where the customer used to ask in the beginning days when the cloud was evolving, how secure is your cloud? This was a very standard question which they were asking it. Now, if you go for any customer interactions to understand the requirement, no customer in the world today asks, how secure is AWS? How secure is Azure? How secure is GCP? How secure is your IBM cloud? They never ask it because they understand cloud infrastructure is much more secure than their on-premise data center. So that standard cloud providers have done it. But if you compare all those things, Google is slightly well ahead of those things is what I would suggest basically. So cloud platform, now I have seen many HSBC, PayPal, they all use already cloud basically. So there are a good amount of banks which use cloud to a great extent. I guess Standard Chartered uses Azure, if I'm not wrong. HSBC uses GCP. The n number of financial institution itself using cloud. In the beginning, they told no, we cannot use it. Now they use it. So that shows cloud infrastructure is much secure than the on-premise. That's the first reason. The second reason why GCP really is going to become um, a good product and can be a game changer is open cloud platform. So to understand this open cloud platform, let's take an example of Oracle. I'm not against Oracle, folks, but just wanted to take this example of Oracle database. You would have heard of this. The Oracle is popular for its database offering, ERP solutions, all those things. So if you see do a quick survey and all, you'll come to know there's good amount of organizations who's using Oracle from a long time. There are two categories of organizations who are using Oracle. One, because they really like the product in product offering from Oracle is really cool, they want to use it. This is the first category. The second category of organizations use Oracle because they don't know how to come out of that. They're locked in, they're locked into that and they don't know how to come out of it. There's a vendor lock-in. The vendor in this case is Oracle. So why? Because it's an enterprise product. It is proprietary, and if you were to come out of it, you have to do a very huge investment, migration, all those things. So because of which they are scared and they stay with Oracle. This is your vendor lock-in concept. Now when it comes to GCP, right, most of the products which Google uses runs on their infrastructure are basically open source based. For example, whenever we talk about big data, what is the first product which comes to your mind, folks? Whenever somebody says big data, there's one product which comes to everyone's mind. What is that product, folks? That ecosystem which you would have heard of, big data. It's like how we now have search is equivalent to Google. Google it is what now we say. Hadoop, yes. So Hadoop, the offerings, the various offerings from Hadoop, the vendors who provide it, Cloudera, Hortonworks, all those things. So uh, that's what it comes into picture. But the Hadoop actually was a contribution. The MapReduce paper was created by or shared with the open source community by Google. So they provided it to the open source community. So that's the most important thing which you should be aware of. And they also have a managed version of it in GCP called as Dataproc. So Dataproc is one of a offering which Google provides, which is nothing but managed Hadoop. What do you mean by managed Hadoop? You don't need to worry about installing a Hadoop cluster, managing it, patching it, all those things. Google is going to do it for you. You just click on a button, it's going to create it. So, but if you today you like GCP, that's the reason you're using Dataproc. Tomorrow, for some business reason, you want to move out of GCP, you want to go to AWS or Azure, you can move because there's no vendor lock-in. It is on the same open source ecosystem, the products which is there in Hadoop, the same thing is what Google is also using. So there's no vendor locking. What you are getting is only the infrastructure. That's one example of being open cloud. I usually call Google as GCP as open cloud. The first reason is this one. The second reason is Big Table. How many of you have used Big Table or heard of Apache Edgebase, folks? Have you heard of this name, Apache Edgebase? Anytime? So if you have not heard of it, no worries. Okay, you have heard of it. Okay, good. One response, one, two. Okay, so uh, this is also a white paper which Google released, and they also have a managed version of it called as Cloud Big Table. So now if you have not heard of Apache Edgebase, no worries. You'd have definitely used YouTube, Gmail, Google search engine, all those things. It is the same product which powers these Cloud Big Table. So that is the importance of this product. So YouTube, Gmail, Google Maps, all those things behind the scene uses Big Table, and Big Table's open source version implementation is Apache Edgebase. Now, when I say this open source version, meaning if you have used Apache Edgebase, it's going to be easy for you to use Big Table. Or think of this way, migration. Our first migration itself, we are talking about it. If it's an on-premise, there is an Hadoop cluster, you want to come to GCP, it's going to be so simple, right? So from Hadoop, you come to Dataproc, which is nothing but a managed version of it. Similarly, if it is Apache Edgebase, you do a migration so easily. It's going to work very effectively. And 6 months down the line, you don't like GCP, you in the sense the organization does not like GCP, they can move out of it. There's no vendor lock-in, open source. That is one important thing. So, and they also have good amount of contribution to machine learning. So when you talk about Google, you cannot stay away without mentioning about AI capability. So the in a Gmail, the spam folder, when you type something in your Gmail itself, hello, if you just type, and if the email is to Mahesh, it's going to show hello Mahesh. If you put comma, if you just type 1 or 2 letters, it's going to do an auto suggestion completion there. That is also machine learning. In your YouTube, if you're seeing a video and it's going to show the next video, the recommendation is also based on machine learning. So all those things are basically based on some framework called as TensorFlow, which is again an open source machine learning framework, which was contributed to the community by Google. So again, a contribution. Now, the good part with Google is when they feel this is a good product which the community can use it, they share it, they open source it with not even a single thought. They just go and share it, and they also provide a managed version of it. If you feel setting up this all those things is an overhead, to be frank, uh, I have only set up Hadoop cluster on my laptop only once in my lifetime. It was a pain actually, but when I started exploring GCP, n number of times I have explored Hadoop because it was so easy for me to set up data pro cluster. So that managed service gives us a better thought. Instead of installing something, focusing more on it, focus on the business requirement. Using this Hadoop cluster, what you can derive out of it. That is the key part of cloud basically. And when it comes to open source, without mentioning Kubernetes, I would say it's not going to be complete. So Google open sourced a container orchestration engine. If you don't understand what is a container orchestration engine, in very, very simple terms, you have a code, you have some uh, you have some components, and you want to run this component in every environment, in GCP, in AWS, in Azure, in your laptop, in my laptop, and in your friend's laptop. Then you have to package it in such a way that it's going to be easily deployed in any environment. That is nothing but as a container. That is called as container. And to run that container, you need some kind of an orchestrator, a captain. That's where Kubernetes comes into picture. So in 2014, they open source this, and Google uses containers to a great extent. They create lots of containerized stuffs internally for their internal use itself. So to orchestrate it, they were using Kubernetes, and they felt this could be also again used by the community helpful. So they just open sourced in 2014, and in 2015 they provided a managed version of it called as Kubernetes Engine. We'll talk about Kubernetes engine more in detail in our compute class, but this is again open source. Now you see n number of open source products are there, and you'll see it throughout as we proceed. Now what is the advantage? No vendor lock-in. It's a cloud platform. And now they're also focusing on something called as multi-cloud platform uh, and hybrid cloud platform options also they are providing Google with a product or a ecosystem called as Anthos. So this is another important thing which is becoming very, very popular. So which was this is an ecosystem or a platform, I would say, which was launched in 2019, Google Next event. Now it's almost like 1.5 years old product, where if you are in AWS and GCP, you want to do some integration, this is going to be helpful. uh, On-premise and GCP, this is going to be helpful. This is something very cool offering which can make GCP number one in next 1 or 2 years. This is a good one, and the base for this Anthos is all Kubernetes. This is the mother for Anthos. So once you excel Kubernetes concept, Anthos concept is going to be easier. This is one main reason why Google can become number one in the next 1 to 2 years, folks. This is the second reason, the openness. Being openness is going to be very easy because there's no vendor lock-in. So the risk is not there getting locked in. At the same point, I wanted to also highlight there are few products in GCP which gives you uh, some very native features. When you are using native, you will be definitely logged in. It is like if you are using an Apple phone, there are some very cool features which you don't get it in Android because it's native. But there are certain features which can work in Android and Apple also. For example, Telegram. It's going to work in both the offerings, right? So, but there are some apps which only work in Apple phone, or some features which only work in Android-based phones. So whenever you are interacting with a customer and the customer says, I want a cloud agnostic solution, which is cloud agnostic, so it should not be logged into a specific cloud, then you should think of these kind of products, Dataproc, Kubernetes, all those kinds of things. But when they say we want to use a cloud native solution, when you use nativity, it's going to be little performant, it can work little faster, all those things. So then you can propose such solutions. But the advantage of open source is today you're in GCP, tomorrow you want to move to other cloud, you can move easily because there's no vendor lock-in. The third reason is my favorite reason, global network. Now, Google built this network for their end user products, your YouTube, Gmail, all those things. So you can be sitting in one part of the world, but you can look into any video posted by anybody or any content, you can search it with the lowest latency. That is all because Google has their own private network, folks. And these lines which you see are basically the network submarine cables. Few of them goes under the sea, few of them goes are on the land. In Europe and all, it's going to be mostly on terrestrial stuffs. So, and there is a survey, you can just look into this. Anyway, the slides should be shared. You can just look into this link where it says, it's a slightly an older article, but this article says almost 40% of the world's internet traffic is on this network, Google's network. And you use the same network in GCP also. So what does this mean basically is, let me just take a, go to a, the same website. So if I just go here, let me open my it's the same screenshot which I put it in the slide. So let me just take this. So okay, network. Now when I see this network, it's the same thing, folks, the same screenshot which I put it. Now what it basically means is I can communicate. If I were to communicate, right? So usually, take any example, your organization itself. You may be sitting in one part of the world, and you may have a counterpart in the other part of the world. Something like you may be sitting in Asia, any part of Asia, and you may have a counterpart in Europe or in America. Now, definitely, your on-premise will have also some data centers. Let me take a very simple example. I have a virtual machine in Mumbai. This is Mumbai. Now I want to communicate with a virtual machine in the in my organization, but the virtual machine is in US Central. Now what I will do basically, if I were to communicate, simple ping. If I want to ping also, I have to either expose this virtual machine with an external IP address, or I have to use some VPN. Then only I can do it, because I have to go take the route. There's no connect, right? There's no, it's not physically connected. But when it comes to Google, right, you can think as if like there's a very big LAN cable connecting your virtual machine from Mumbai. It goes to US Central. A very big LAN cable, fiber optics, which connects from one data center to another data center. So this is only possible in cloud GCP. No other cloud provider can provide you. You can very strongly say this because of their presence. AWS is slowly catching up. They are going to come very close, but GCP is the number one in this part. The global presence. So because of this global presence, you can have networking stuffs made very, very easy. When we do in our module 5, right, you will understand this concept very well. This is something very important, very unique also. If in an interview question, if somebody asks you, tell me one unique feature in GCP which no other cloud provider has, I can easily say the global presence of network, the global network presence. Simple. No other cloud provider has it. AWS is closely coming, but not still there. So that's another reason. Now just think of this one. The last year again, most of us was working from home, and I would have seen most of us would have used those Netflix, Amazon Prime, all those things. And there were few countries who are saying there could be a choke in the network happening, internet. So please make sure you switch off your mode from high definition to HD. In Europe and all, I heard this story because there could be a network choke happening because everything is on public internet. But if you are using a private network like Google, this network choking will not happen. So global network is going to be an important thing, and with being norms like these days, like working from home is becoming like a norm, this is going to play a major role here. So another valid reason why Google can become number one because of this feature, which is global network. And the last and the final, which is the most unique feature, I would say, AI capability, artificial intelligence stuffs. So when it comes to artificial intelligence, right, I have been in this industry, so where I was not knowing anything what is artificial intelligence and what is a subset in that. One of the subset is machine learning. Um, was under the impression, at least in the beginning, artificial intelligence is only specific to a set of people who has a PhD degree, who has a degree in mathematics and statistics. Only they can write a machine learning stuff or a AI component is what many of us were thinking. But Google braked it. They tried to democratize AI, make it available to everybody. Was the one which Google tried to do it, and they have doing it even today. So let me just try to explain this slide, this pyramid or triangle. Let's assume you have an insurance app, a mobile app, or a website. Now there's one car owner who meets up with an accident and the car is damaged. This user wants to claim the insurance. What he will do, he will open the app, he will enter all the details, he or she will enter all the details, the car number, the registration number, driving license, all those information. Definitely there's going to be one column which is going to ask, please upload the image of this damaged car so that we can process it. Now if this app is not AI driven, meaning it is not having that intelligence, this person can also upload a bike's photo. The application will get processed. Once it has been reviewed by an agent, a call center agent, the agent will call and say, sir or madam, you have not uploaded the right image. Please upload the right image. The reason why this can happen is because those apps are not AI driven. Now, if I want to do the same thing, make it more effective, have a AI driven app, I can use something called as ML APIs, predefined APIs. And for using this, you don't need to be having a PhD degree. If you know how to call a endpoint, a URL, that's all good enough. So let me just show you a small demonstration on this part. So to give you a feel, and this website, treat this as your insurance app. So let me just open it. This is an AI capability called as Vision API. So let me just wait for the screen to come up. Okay, the screen has come up. For a minute, please assume this is your insurance app, and this is the option to drag and drop the image, the damaged car image. Now let me click on this, and what I will do is I'm not going to upload a car photo, but rather I'm going to upload a bike's photo. Okay, so I'm going to upload this bike's photo, which is slightly damaged if I'm not wrong. The front end is the front part is slightly damaged. A boat. Hope I am correct. That's the most difficult part, the captcha. Okay, so when I upload this kind of a stuff, right, if there's a machine learning running, it's going to quickly say it's a motorcycle with 97% accuracy. Now, this kind of a validation, if that insurance app had done right, it would have blocked the user from uploading a two-wheeler photo and would have prompted him to upload a right car photo. So you could have reduced that call center person's effort calling him, covering it, all those things. So now a normal insurance app, you have converted that into a uh, AI driven app by just calling what? Just calling this URL, folks. vision.googleapis.com slash version v1 slash images and passing this image. Who can do this? A web developer can do it very easily. So now you, as a cloud architect, you are proposing for this kind of a use case, why don't we use something called as Vision API, which Google provides. Now, how do I do that? Now, assume the developer has used this API and built it by just calling it. We are not asking him to write some machine learning code. He may be a person who is comfortable with writing some Python code for web application. So he's just going to call this URL endpoint and pass this image. And if the output is saying motorcycle, ask him to upload a new image. Now, if he has done that implementation, let's upload a new photo, which is a car. Now I have uploaded a car to this AI, which is really a damaged car. It shows car 91% it is saying. Now it's just a small condition, right? He needs to check, is it equal to car? Fine, process the claim. That's it. So I can make this normal AI, normal application into AI driven by just calling this API, and I don't need to have any PhD degree. If I know how to call this via this URL, which a developer can do it very easily, you're done. So that is the first part. So, and the reason for showing this is what it has done, it has democratized it. So if you're a developer, you just call this API and you can turn your normal app into an AI based app. So that's the first set of people where Google is helping them. Now, assume you cannot write a code. You are basically coming from a machine, from a business perspective, but you can get some data. For example, if I just go back, so this API, right, or this capability gave you that it is car. But what it did not give you, is there any information which it did not give, folks, which a human eye can easily say? We humans can easily say, rather than saying it is a car, we will say it is a damaged car, right? But if you see, this API did not give that anything. The front portion is, or the side portion is damaged. It cannot give it because that's the limitation of this API or this machine learning API. Now, if you have a requirement like this, when I upload a car photo, it should say whether it is damaged or not damaged. So if you want such kind of a stuff and you don't want to write a single line of code, then you can use something called as AutoML. So you can use something called as AutoML. So this is for developers who can call an endpoint. AutoML is for business users who don't want to write a single line of code. Business user, but you should have a data. The data has to be provided, like 100 images of car which is damaged, 100 images of cars which is normal. Just upload it into a service. It's going to train and it's going to give you that prediction. Now, this is for business users. Now, if you are a database person who can write SQL statements easily and you want to do some machine learning, you have a capability called as, for SQL people, called as BigQuery ML. So usually when you think of machine learning, there's one language which always pops up to everybody's mind. It is Python. It is made very popular. Uh, but if you don't know Python, but you are coming from a database background, you want to do machine learning, you can do it with BigQuery ML, which is Google's warehouse, where you can have your machine learning built in a SQL statement. Now you are not learning something new. You know you are an expert in SQL. For a SQL developer, we are providing an option there to write machine learning stuffs. Now, if there is some specific requirement, now developer over, business users over, SQL over. Now let's think of a specific use case like uh, semiconductor manufacturing industry, and they're manufacturing those semiconductors. There's definitely going to be those chips, right? The VLSI chips. And assume the requirement is one of the pin is broken. Now you want to find out whether the pin is broken or not. Very, very niche requirement, uh, which nobody can do except a data scientist. So if you are a data scientist, Google provides you an option called as ML engine. Now this is for hardcore data scientists where they can write some complex codes, all those things. And for that code to run, they are going to provide an infrastructure called as Cloud ML engine. Awesome. Now you have given for different set of people, data scientist, SQL developer, business user, developer. Now all good. Now how do I operationalize it? So machine learning, how do I operationalize this entire part? So that's where you're going to use something called as Kubeflow, which is again based on Kubernetes. Now many people would have heard of DevOps, data ops, all those kind of stuffs. But what you not have heard is something called as ML ops. If you have heard it, that's good. ML ops, machine learning operations. How do you operationalize it? Now, in next 1 year or 2 year, this is going to become like a norm. Machine learning is already becoming like commodity, like how everybody has a smartphone these days. Uh, Machine learning is going to become commodity. Every app is going to have machine learning, but operationalizing it, maintaining it is going to be very, very important. That is where this ML ops is going to be really handy. So, and Google is really excelling in this part, ML ops. So if machine learning becomes very popular and this is a mandatory thing, then again GCP is going to come very, very handy. Kubeflow, for your information, is open source based, but Google also provides their own version of it, so you can do machine learning ops easily there. So this is another valid reason where Google can become number one, because you provide that capability for everybody easily to operationalize it and manage it. And the last one is on virtual machines. This is for beginners. So if you don't know anything about machine learning, so you want to learn Python from the scratch, and you don't want to spend time in installing Python and configuring all those things, you just search for something called as deep learning VMs, where they provide you a packaged virtual machine. You just log in and start writing your code, learn your code and do it. So for every set of categories of people, Google provides machine learning capabilities. So that is the reason why usually you would have heard this term in many of the videos from Googlers itself. Google tries to democratize AI, so make it available for everybody. So these are four valid reasons why one should go with GCP, and these are also couple of reasons are really valid, which can make Google become the number one cloud provider in the next 1 to 2 years, basically. And you would have heard also about uh, there's a new CEO, Thomas Kurian. He comes from a background where marketing makes a huge difference, Oracle, so that his strategy can also help make it number one, I would say. Um, uh, Google is really good with technology, but their marketing was not that good. That could be also another thing. So I have seen organizations like IBM where they do very good marketing, even though there's nothing on the plate, but their marketing is too good, which people go for it. For example, IBM Watson. Till now, many people don't know what was there in IBM Watson, but the marketing was done so much that it looks like it is the next. It's like the next Skynet. That was the kind of marketing it was done. Which Google was lacking, but with Thomas Kurian as the CEO, good amount of things can definitely work because he comes from that background, Oracle. So we may see something better, is what I would say. So now we have seen what is Google Cloud Platform, why one should prefer Google Cloud Platform. Now, if you're convinced with those 4 points, let's see at a very high level, 10,000 foot high, what are the various GCP services. 200 plus services are there, and each and every day or every week new services are going to be added, upgraded, all those things. Let's look at a very high level, and we can categorize almost every GCP product under this 5 categories at a high level. The first one, networking. Why networking is very important? As I mentioned, without networking there's no cloud, so you cannot expect any cloud infrastructure without this. So networking is very important. That's the first category. And you will see a few concepts like firewall rules, VPN, all those things. That's the first category where we can divide everything into the one first category. The second category is our favorite one, virtual machine. I guess everybody would have created, at least used a virtual machine, or at least used a laptop. And I guess everybody is seeing it from a laptop only this entire session. So you would have used a laptop, how a laptop works. The same thing, if you want to get it in a virtualized form, that's where we are going to use various compute options. There are few options like compute engine, Kubernetes engine, all those things. Uh, and the list keeps on growing. So there is one more product called as Cloud Run, which I have not added for a specific reason. Just for your information, um, recently I got recertified also in the cloud architect. So it's 2018 I finished, 2020 I recertified, and in the exam when I did it right, these new products were not at all near in the exam. So my assumption was, if you do a recertification, why do you do recertification? Basically to upgrade your skills, to see whether you're up to mark with the new products and all. So there was a product launch called as Cloud Run, which comes under this compute option itself, the fifth component. This was launched in 2019 Google Next event. So I was under the impression, so I'm going to get some questions on the latest stuffs, was so prepared. And when I took the recertification, it was a disappointment. The reason was most of the questions was based on the 2 years back questions only, on the products which was 2 years old only. So I did not see that thing. So I thought, okay, why don't I at least emphasize this in the slide, saying that they may, I'm not sure, at least when they update the exam. So maybe for you people, by the time you finish this course, maybe the content is updated. But till last 16th, January, 16th of January, last Saturday, the content was the same. Because how I know it, there was one of the previous batch student cleared it. He called me and told, and it was the same thing, Mahesh, what you mentioned. It is all old uh, old products only, no new products questions was there. Cloud Run, Data Fusion, there are some new good products, but there's no questions on it. So just remember that. So I'll also keep you posted as I progress, because there are previous batch students who are learners who are taking certification. I usually get some updates. I usually get some updates from them. I'll keep you posted that whether the content is getting refreshed or not. So that's your second category, which is compute, to do some processing. Once you process it, once you process, like if I were to give a small example, I would say network is going to be a foundation. First, you have to have a foundation. So have a kitchen, that's the first thing. So once you have the kitchen, then how do you do the processing? So you need to have a stove, or a gas stove, or an electric stove. So you have that this thing. Now once you start cooking, you have to store it in some container, right? That's where this storage is going to come into picture easily. So you store your stuffs after you have done those, you're cooking something, you need to have a container there. That's where the storage component is going to come. here, and there are good amount of storage components in GCP, like a normal database to a complex database like big table, which can handle petabytes of information easily. Once you have done the storage, but if the volume is bit huge, assume relatives or groups of people have come to your house, and the normal vessel which you cook may not be a fit there, so you need to have a bigger container because the volume is huge. So that's where you may use products like big data. So the volume is huge, the type of data is huge, the velocity, the veracity is different. So you are going to use big data set of products, where you are going to look into some products like data proc, which is nothing but our Hadoop cluster. We just saw that in our previous slide. BigQuery, which is a warehouse. There are a number of products here, and also few products which is becoming very important these days, IoT. There's also a statistics. If you see, the number of connected devices in the entire world is more than the entire population in the world. So it's 3 times more, because every human has a 3 device minimum. So even your mobile is a connected device, so it's an IoT device, I would say. So how you can do analytics on top of it, we will explore that in IoT core. That's your fourth category. And the fifth category is the ultimate one, Google's unique stuff, AI stuff, artificial intelligence stuff. So where we are going to look into those things. So it's a top 5 categories, and our modules are going to be based on this only. So usually we should start with networking, because that's the foundation. But I'm doing this training almost like from 2018 or 19, if I'm not wrong. 18, I guess, if I'm not wrong. So various courses have, various people have trained. What I have got was as a feedback most of the time, networking is little difficult, Mahesh. If we could have made it slightly later, we could have learned it better, is what I have heard it from many people. So based on that only, what I felt, we'll make this networking as the module 5. So let's get used to GCP concepts very well. So that's the reason module 2 is going to be on IAM. Module 3 is going to be on compute. Module 4, so if I get my highlighter. So this is going to be a module 3. This is going to be a module 4. This is your module 5. And this is your module 6. This is your module 7. So this was only based on the feedback which I felt, and I also felt that yes, networking could be an overkill for a person who is not coming from a networking background. By the time you finish module 4 on storage, you would have at least got a good amount of exposure in GCP. So at that time, looking into networking makes more sense. So that's the reason. But if you ask me literally, we should first look into networking, but we will not do it. To make you comfortable, we'll do it at 5th module. Now, almost like I feel the IM is the toughest one. I would totally agree with you, Vivek. No even single thought on that. The cloud IM is the most difficult one, the most important one, and that's the reason we are going to do it so in detail in our class. 12 hours we are going to spend on it, and it's an horizontal. It's an horizontal. It's going to be applied for virtual machines. It's going to be applied for your big data products. It's going to be applied for your networking also. Now, almost we have heard in bits and pieces some products, right? Compute engine, BigQuery, dataproc, Bigtable. Who can remember all those things? That too, it is the first class. It's going to become very, very difficult in the beginning. So to make your learning process simple, right? There's one small tip. The tip is search in your Google. If you have already used it, awesome. My recommendation is just search in the internet like GCP in 4 words. This is created by a Googler, an awesome documentation. Uh, the first link which you will see is basically a GitHub. Search GCP in 4 words, GitHub page. When you click on it, it's in actually hosted in GitHub. You will get a document which is in different format, JPEG, PNG, sorry, PNG, yeah, PNG in different resolutions, and a PDF version of it. So what I would suggest is, what is there in this PDF? If I want to show you, let me just download it. If I open it, almost all the 200 plus GCP services is put in only 2 slides in 2 pages, and every product, right, they explain, the Googler did a great job, I would say, explains it in only 4 words, maximum 4 English words, ignoring and all. Okay, so for example, if I compute engine, we were talking about compute engine, which is nothing but virtual machines, all those things, right? So if you see compute engine, what it is, explain me in 4 words, means it is virtual machine. You will have disks, you will have GPU, graphical processing unit, you will have TPUs, all those things. Now we saw about cloud data proc. If you want to see data proc, so just search it, because it's a PDF document, you can search it, data proc. I have to find it where it is. Okay, here. So what is data proc? Simple, managed Spark and Hadoop. That's it. BigQuery, data warehouse and analytics. So it's going to be so simple in 4 words, at least to give some thoughts. What is this product? Because as a cloud architect, the expectation is we should know every product. At least you should be able to explain what is this product all about. So these 4 words will definitely help you in the beginning days. So my high recommendation is, download those, if you're using a personal laptop, your own laptop, not the corporate laptop. Download this image, a high resolution image, make it as your wallpaper. So I know you would have kept your loved ones as the wallpaper, maybe for 60 days. Just change the wallpaper, or if you have accessibility to printers or anything, uh, take a printout, put it on your desk, wherever you spend most of the time. So I have heard one person, when he's drinking coffee or tea, he just looks at this. So instead of looking at a phone or thinking something, why don't you simply stand in front of this printout? You will get lots of stuffs. I can just show you something. So there's one uh, question which usually I have seen this question in the exam, something called as DLP, data loss. There's one product called as data loss. You can data loss. Yeah, this is the one. I'm just zooming it for only a better view, folks. DLP, Cloud Data Loss Prevention. Classify and redact sensitive data. So if you have some sensitive data like your credit card information, your phone number, email, you want to redact it, mask it. If it's a credit card, only show the last 4 digit. You can easily use this with a product called as DLP. Now it's going to be very difficult for you to remember everything in the beginning days. You keep this handy. Whenever you hear any product, just search it and get that 4 words. So you see it is always 4 words. And I already made a disclaimer excluding and. So classify, redact sensitive data. So this is going to be a very, very important one. I would say strongly suggest you to either take a printout or make it as your wallpaper. Definitely will get benefit. I can easily say one question can come from this slide itself, from this thing, because you know the products, every product. Some questions in the exam would be based on what product to use, one or two maybe. So it can easily be answered by just watching this every time. Whenever you get bored with some work or something, just stare at this printout or stare at this wallpaper if you have it on your desktop. So that's a small tip, folks. Now, let's really get our hands dirty by activating our free trial. If you have already activated it, I had already sent an email. If I have already activated it, awesome. But for the completeness of the class, for everybody to bring it on the same page, because without this, the rest of the demos you cannot do. So I want everybody to have this activated. You can take your time, maybe After the class you can activate it, or together with me if you want to activate it also you can do it. But for this I need you need to have a credit card. Debit card works in some countries, but credit card is going to work. So let me explain this and we'll take a break so that in the 10 minutes you can get your credit card ready next to you. So what is this basically is, all our labs or demos which we are going to do, we are going to use free trial account. It's not tier, it's a free trial account. Google gives, previously they used to give it for 365 days, 1 year, but now they have made it as 90 days. That's just an indication that they are becoming very popular. It is for at least for people in India, it's more like your Geo. So 1 year, I guess 2 years back, they provided it 1 year free. Laterwards, they increase they reduce that free tier, all those things. It is just to make you get used to it. So, and that's the reason why you see Google and Geo working together. So just a small part there. So you get only 90 days, and 90 days should be good enough for us because we will definitely finish our class by 90 days. So you are going to get $300 or equivalent of that. If you are in India, it's going to be roughly around 22,000 or 23,000, equivalent of that. You are going to get that credit. So what do you mean by this credit? Whatever you create the resources, whenever you create any resource, they are going to incur some cost. Google is going to detect it from this credit which they are going to give you. So if I create a virtual machine, this virtual machine is not in our on-premise. It is in GCP. It is in the cloud. So to run this, there's going to be some infrastructure requirements. So if there's an infrastructure, there's going to be a cost. So that cost is going to be deducted from this free credit. So if you're so enthusiastic, I can exhaust this $300 in one shot. I can do that. But if you plan it very well, for 90 days, you can keep it and learn your GCP stuffs. And why I don't recommend quick labs here is, quick labs will give you only lab access to a specific demo. Create a virtual machine, create a database. So if you do this, if you try to do something different, right, they will blacklist your IP address, sorry, your email ID. So you have to again unblock it. They'll block it. They say you're supposed to do only VM. Why did you create a Hadoop cluster? So that's the reason we blocked your email ID. But if you use your free trial account, it is yours. It is yours for the next 90 days. You can do whatever you want, create some resources, play around with it. So, and there are also certain products which Google gives you totally free of cost, around 24 products. I'll show you all those details. So after the trial ends, right, this is the beauty, folks. After the trial ends, right, Google is not going to cross charge you. 90 days, that's it. Afterwards, if you don't like to upgrade your account, just it is going to be just disabled. That's it. But they will never auto charge your credit card. That's the beauty. And just for your information, I have around 234 videos in my YouTube. All the videos are done on a free trial account only. I have not even paid a single penny to do those videos. So it is like I use their uh, free trial account, created videos on their concept itself, uploaded it, and I'm making money out of it. So totally this thing. So just for your information, my YouTube channel is monetized, so I get a good amount of revenue from that videos also. So that's the reason why you see ads, all those things. So it is basically using their product itself and making money out of it. So uh, after the trial ends, they will never cross charge you. If you want to use the paid account, you need to click on a button called as activate or upgrade. So that's very important. I'll show you this entire demonstration after we come back from the break. The reason is, only this demo I want you to do together with me if you want to do it, provided you have a credit card next to you handy. If you don't have it handy, get it in the next 10 minutes. Otherwise, you can do it at a later point of time. But by tomorrow, if you can have it, it's going to be really helpful. So I have an account which has 35 days free trial. So I need to use the same account or need to sign up a new account. Okay, I'll talk about that. So if by chance we exceed more than 90 days, your credit will definitely expire. And when you are mentioning your will expire, then you can create a new Gmail ID, but you can use the same existing card. So I've been using the same existing card multiple times. It works. They will just only look for a different email ID. Why they need the credit card is just to prove that you are Mahesh, you are Vivek, something of that sort, just to prove your identity. That's it. and they are going to charge a very nominal amount. If you are in US, $0 or $1, but in 10 days they will refund it. If you are in India, it's going to be like 2 rupees or 1 rupee or sometimes 0 rupees. They will refund it in 10 days. So you are not incurring even a single penny, folks. So the only credit card requirement is just to make sure you are not a robot and to have your identity registered. That is the only thing. What we will do is we'll take a break. Once we come back from the break, I wanted to do this demonstration of how to create this free trial account. For this, the only prerequisite is you need to have a Gmail ID and you have a credit card. That's it. Keep it handy and we'll try to do this demonstration once we come back. This is going to be our first demo, basically. Okay, so let's take a break and come back, folks. I have created an account where I can check the trial period. I have created, okay, so I'll show you how to check the trial period also, Mohammed Mansoor. So I'll show you all those details. So let's take a break and come back because it's almost 1 hour we did not take. So let's take a break and come back. Let me stop the recording. And you'll have some glitches also. I'll also talk about the glitches. Not everybody will get this account activated in one shot. There are people who have some troubles. I'll also talk about that. So let me stop the recording.
This conference will now be recorded.
So I'll definitely show where to see the trial period, whether it is exhausted, all those things I'll show you once we do the demonstration. Uh, Before that, so far, it's the second half we finished it. Any questions so far, folks? About the demonstration, creating the free trial, I'll answer everything. Apart from that, is there any other question? Let me know, please. Okay. Hope the pace is okay, folks. Is this pace okay? You want me to slow down? Let me know. I hope the accent is not having any problem. So I get, and if there's no response, I'll take it to my advantage only. That's it. Thank you. All right. So if you want to do this demo with me, please go ahead, and I'm going to be very, very slow. The only prerequisite is have your credit card next to you, your phone, if there's an OTP going to come. If you are in a, I guess in India, you get a two-factor authentication, but in some parts of the world, you don't get it. So phone, credit card, and email ID. Those are the prerequisite. If you have it, let's get started with creating a free trial account. If you have already created it, just watch it and I'll show you where to check for your details, how long it's going to be valid, all those details. And for that, I'm going to use my Firefox browser. The first thing which you need to do basically is to get an idea. I'm just going to put this to everyone. To have an idea why I was very particular in saying trial, not tier, because there are two offerings which Google provides you. Let me just slightly zoom this. The first one is 90 days. Previously, it was 365 days. I have used it n number of times. Now, I guess fortunately or unfortunately, they made it as 90 days. That's an indication that it is becoming very popular, basically. And no other cloud provider in the entire world provides you 90 days. You take any of the one, they only provide you 1 month maximum. So this again also shows how generous Google is. So 90 days, $300 free trial, new Google Cloud. So you get up to 90 days. You use your credits for one or more combination of products. You can use it for Google products or GCP products. This is the first option, the free program which you get. Uh, there's one question. GCP Professional Cloud Architect exams like is practical one or questions and answer similar to Azure. Okay, it is a multi-choice, multiple questions. You will have radio buttons or checkbox, multiple choice, multiple select. It's objective type, basically. Vijay, hope that answers the question. Yeah. So this is the first free program which you get. The second free program is free tier. So this one, right, in free tier, you get some products which is free forever, for lifetime. It is like only when you exceed that specific quota, right? Then you will be charged to your credit card. So here in this 90 days, whatever the blunder you make, your credit card will never be charged. So, and there is one more last option, which is for Google Maps. We'll not look into it. It's not our piece of cake in this. But these are two things which could be helpful. And we will prefer to use this one for the next 90 days. So to activate that, you need to go to this website. And again, it's an official one. So if you are here, we can click on get started for free. The free trial, which I told, right? These are those products, the free tier. You have these 24 products, which is free. But if you exceed that quota, you will be charged in your credit card. So that is how it goes. We will not look into that part. That's not our important, because we are learning. We'll definitely make mistakes. So our mistake should not be expensive. So that's the reason we are going to use free trial account. Trial, TRIAL. So let's click on get started. So I guess everybody are at this page. Click on get started. I have not even signed into this Google account. So what I will do is basically I will use one of my demo account to log in. So you can key in your, let me slightly zoom this for a better view. So I will log in. I have to key in my password. So confirm. Once you log in, right, you should see a screen like this. Let me stop here, folks. And you can also see it very clearly from your URL. It shows it is free trial. Okay. So let me wait here and for you to finish this part. It's just go to the screen, click on login, use one of your existing Gmail ID. If you are here, give me a yes or no. We'll wait. Only then we'll proceed further. This is the only demo we are going to do together. Remaining everything is going to be me who is going to do it. Later, you are going to do it at your own pace. Because without this, we cannot create any demos. So let me give some more time and you can see the details which they moved. $300, 90 days, all those details. Okay, if you are there, the country name is going to be picked up by your ISP provider from your ISP provider. If you are using some VPN, it may show something different. That's okay. This is going to help you to indicate what kind of credit card you are going to use. So that's going to be one helpful thing. Now let me click on this terms and services. Click continue. The first step is damn easy. Just a checkbox and you proceed further. The second step is the most challenging thing and people can make mistakes. So I'm going to show you okay, if you have found it, that's good, Mohammed. The trial duration and all. Now, are you people in step 2, folks? Give me a S if you're done. If you are in step 2, uh, and this is the last step actually, which we are going to finish it. And please don't put any sensitive information in the chat. Okay, so don't put any sensitive information either in private or in public to everyone. Don't put any details. Just keep it. Just give me yes or no kind of a binary answer. That should be good enough. The first step is we are not an organization. So we are all individuals. So just change it to, and we are going to use own individual credit card. So make it as individual. Now, when do you use business? When it is actually for a organization, we are going to use it, but we are not a business. We are going to be individual. First step done. Once that is done, key in your credit card, and I'm not going to key in my credit card here. So but you need to key in your credit card, and it's going to identify whether it's a Master or a Visa credit card. So these are the only things which is supported. Prefer to use credit card, folks. Don't use debit cards. Uh, when I tried it in Singapore, it worked. In India, it did not work. So in US, I'm not sure a credit debit card is going to work, but better is credit card. So enter those information. I'm just mentioning a random number here. It's not my credit card anyway. Uh, all those details you mentioned, something like 2030 uh, expired, 2030, something like that. I'm just giving a number here. What is the year? 2025 or something. Give a name, your this thing, enter the details. Now you may ask why this address is required. So once you finish the registration process, right, every month from this $300, 3 months, for the next 3 months, you're going to get an invoice. In the invoice, they'll just mention that address. So you can mention the address, your home address, or whatever the address you want. Mention it. Once you mention it, this tax information, uh, everybody pays tax, so just mention it as registered individual. That's it. No other further information required. Let me repeat it. Just turn on that it is a registered individual, because I know everybody pays tax. That in IT, we are the only people who pay tax very regularly. So registered, but PAN card, TAN are optional field. Please don't enter any of your PAN card details. So let me just go up one more time. The couple of steps important is your account type has to be individual. Then key in your credit card information, all those necessary stuff, CVV number, expiry, all those CV number will be popped up later. Uh, your PAN card, sorry, your so here the automatic, when you will be charged automatically each year. I'll tell you, don't worry about it. So for me, it is showing automatic payment. I'll come to that, Vijay, 1 minute. So is this a checkbox for you which is showing, or radio button? Is this what you're seeing? When the billing start, you will be charged bill automatically each month. Is this what is your concern, Vijay? Uh, you registered already? You registered already? How to pay? How to pay monthly? You can pay the service on a regular monthly basis via automatic charge. Your is due. How to pay monthly automatic payments? You pay for the service on a regular monthly basis via automatic charge when your payment is due. So don't worry about all those things for a minute. So because this is when you start the billing. Please assume when you start the billing. If you have not started the billing, there's no automatic detection going to happen. So that is the key part here. So uh, just give me some more time. I'll finish it and then I should be able to answer your stuffs. So this is only when you start the billing, meaning what do you mean by start the billing? Become a paid user, paid account. Only then it's going to be charged. Okay. So enter all the, make this as registered tax information as registered individual. No need of any other information. When you click on start my free trial, what is going to happen is, okay, this showing a different screen for you, Vijay. Is the screen itself is different? What is the content which is showing? For others, is the screen differently shown, folks? Uh, for me, it is showing automatic payment. It is the same screen. Uh, for me, it is different. It is. Uh, yes, we don't have any tax related information. Tax related info. No, no, no. It is only. Oh, if it's not showing tax related information, it's okay. Not your screen. I'm talking. So yes, we don't have a tax related information on our screen. Okay, maybe from where, based on the ISP provider, the country it is having some information. Because I'm from India, it's going to show me, but if you are from US or anything, it may not show you this part. Maybe some different countries, terms and conditions, they may have different this thing, basically. But the account type it is showing, folks, account type, whether it's individual or business, should be shown. I'm 100% sure with that. Uh, ensure your credit card details, uh, then click on the start button. For me it is showing automatic payment enabled. You can pay this service only after you incur occur cost via an automatic pay when you reach a billing or 30 days after your last payment, whichever comes first. This is after 90 days. After 90 days, only if you have activated it, only it will be charged. Otherwise, you will not occur any cost, Vijay Anand. Don't worry. Don't worry. So don't worry about it. So it's not going to incur any cost to your credit card unless you do one mistake. I'll show you what is that mistake people do. So if you have filled in till here, folks, click on the start my free trial. When you click on it, if you are in India, it's going to redirect to an OTP. If you are in US, it's going to directly go to a page where you need to enter the CVV number, all those details. Uh, and once you have, it's basically an e-commerce transaction which you're doing on Amazon or Flipkart. It is going to be something like that. Once you have done it, you should, if everything has gone fine, you should see a screen like this. Google Cloud Platform, my first my first project, welcome your name. This is what it should show. Now let me wait for you to do the transaction, and if you are having any challenges, let me know. We'll try to fix it. But during any comments, don't put your credit card or any other details in the chat, folks. Let me wait. And if you are doing this activation on your corporate laptop and you're using the corporate VPN or anything, you may have some issue. Prefer to do it on your home Wi-Fi connection, direct home Wi-Fi connection. It's going to be a better one. So I hear that is Vijay has done it. Good. Let me wait for a few more minutes for others to do it. And if you still, and you will have some glitches. Some people get it done. uh, till now I have got it done most of the time in one shot. One time only I had some issue. I'll also share my issues which I have faced. uh, Awesome. So if you have completed, if you're seeing something like welcome your name or whatever was your email ID, it's going to show that first name there, and it should show this one. Now, if you have done this, if you have reached it, awesome. But if you are not able to do it, you may have some issues, something like this. Sometimes the credit card verification is not happened immediately. Anyway, you would have logged in with the email ID, you will get a mail like this: immediate action required, your platform API has been suspended. Have one account, so not creating a new one. Okay, so no problem. If you already have it, no problem, don't need to create it. You may get sometimes like this, folks: the credit card is not verified, something has gone wrong. So you just need to follow the procedure. uh, Sometimes I had done this once. They will ask you, take your credit card, have your finger or mask the first 12 digit, only show the last 12 digit. I guess not even 12 digit if I'm not wrong. Completely mask your credit card number, but make sure that in the credit card your name is visible. Take a photo and upload it, is what sometimes they may ask you. Or sometimes it will take 3 hours or sometimes 24 hours to activate it. So if it has deducted the money and you are not able to see it, no problem, wait for 24 hours, you should be able to get it. So for me, once this happened, they asked me to upload the screenshot of my credit card, but no number, only the name. So only the name I have to upload it, masking, putting a finger on my number. credit card number and take a photo, and I uploaded. Immediately it got activated and I got this email. So if I have done something like this, I should see it and I should see my project as my first project. Now, uh, to see whether how much credit you have or anything, I'm just going to do something slightly different. You don't need to do anything. You should have, maybe I can use a different account. So uh, you should have a screen like this where your project, this is your GCP project. The name is going to be fixed for everybody. My first project. Let me just change it for a minute just to simulate as if it is showing you the same thing. Just give me a minute. Okay, if you're using Office laptop and Office VPN, you can use your phone to activate it. Afterwards, you should be able to from your office laptop. Can you log into Gmail first of all, Mangesh? Oh, okay. If you cannot log into Gmail, then I guess that means accounts.google.com is blocked. Um, you have to look for some alternative, something like your phone. You have to activate it. Uh, you have to activate your phone. So you cannot go to accounts.google.com and log in, right? That is a problem which you have. So they are blocking login to Google.
Yeah, actually, not allowing anything from office laptop.
Okay, so maybe after the class, if you can call me, I can give you some tips there. So, but
Okay.
if you can do accounts.google.com, can you sign in? Can you sign in with your Gmail ID something? Will that happen or not?
No, actually, this is HSBC laptop. I mean, they are restricting everything.
Okay, then I guess you have to use a different device altogether.
Yeah,
If it
yeah,
is a
we'll
corporate
figure out.
policy. Sure,
Yeah, we'll
sure,
figure
sure,
out. Yeah.
sure. So, if everything has gone proper for you people, you have successfully done. It's going to, the screen is going to be something like this, folks. Exactly like this. Let me just show you. One minute. So it should show something like this. Welcome, your name, setup, all those things is what it should show. To know your free trial status, right? There's a gift icon, folks. Gift icon. If you just click on this icon, it will show you the status. If I just click on it, it's going to show your free trial status. Because I'm in India, it's going to show me in rupees, this much of credit. And for you, it's going to be 90 days. So this I have activated it before this 90 days came. So that's the reason it is for me longer. For you, it's going to show 90 days. With a full account, you don't, and you get unlimited access to Google Cloud Platform. So do you see the status like this, folks? Gift icon is not showing. So can you refresh the screen once? Can you refresh the screen once? Sometimes it can show you that sometimes the gift icon may not show. Uh, and it should be 90 days or something. Now, if the gift icon is not showing, I'll give you a trick to find it out. Um, for me, also not showing. Okay. Okay. Only for one person it is showing. Okay, go ahead, folks. Like how many, for others it is showing or not? Let me know. Already refresh, not showing. No, no. Okay. Was there any? Okay, not showing. Okay. Uh, not showing for anybody. Only for one person it is showing. Okay. If it is not showing, so for you people, was there a deduction happened like 1 rupee or $1, something like that? A deduction happened. Okay. Now if it has happened, then the quick way to check whether you are able to have your account activated or not, the small trick is, please click on this hamburger menu. Okay, detector. Click on this navigation menu, folks, on your left hand side. For me, it did not detect. I went to billing. Okay. Okay, let me just go one by one and fix this. So for most of them which is not showing a free trial, just come to your compute engine. I'll just put the link in the chat, folks, so that it's going to be easier for me. Or you can search like this. If you go to the search box, search for compute, search for compute engine, select it. Select it. You should be able to see a create button like this, or it should show compute engine API enabling. If it shows billing is not enabled, hold on to that. But if it is showing API getting enabled, let me know. So if it is showing billing not enabled, you have not done the enablement properly. But if you can see a create button like this, okay, it shows you can use after billing. Okay, Smith, are you using an existing account or you just activated it now? Okay, for most of you, the billing just activated it. Uh, it was not the same email ID which you used in the past. Am I correct, Smith? Just activated now, but still showing. Just activated now, but it's still showing enable billing. You are using after you are yes. It is a new email ID. Uh, okay. Mm, 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 mm. It's a new email ID. Okay. People are having issues, and don't click on enable billing. Don't click on it. Uh, just leave for an hour or so. We'll check it out. Anyway, we have still 1 hour, so we'll come back. So it's going to take sometimes to get activated. So let's wait for it to come up. If it is still not coming up, maybe we can look into the billing part. So Mohammed Mansoor, so for you, you were using an existing account, if I'm not wrong, previously, right? Or it was something which you activated just now, existing account. So basically, for a minute, I'll just stop unsharing because I just wanted to know, I'll just check my billing information. So let me unshare it, then share it back so that I can show you where you can check it. Just give me a minute. I'm just going to unshare because I need to see my credit card details. So that's the reason I'm unsharing it. Give me a minute. I'll go to billing. There's one button which I usually forget where it is. So that's the reason I'm unsharing it. Just give me a minute so that I can help you out if some billing issue is there. Um, Payment settings. I'm just checking my details, payment. Okay, this is payment method. Okay. Okay, let me share it back. Payment settings is what I have to click on it. Okay, so let me go back to my home screen. Let me share it back. If you go to payment overview, it's going to show your balances and you won't be charged until there is a balance due. Okay. Okay, so for many of you, it is showing enable billing, right? So just click on this hamburger menu. And under that, you have something called as billing. So if you click on billing, it's going to show some options. One of the option is payment set overview or setup, I guess. Settings. So it's going to show you various options here. So hope you are in the billing section, folks. Are you in the billings screen? Okay. Now, if you go to this payment settings, first of all, I'll go to the payment overview in a minute. First of all, let me just go to payment settings. If everything has gone fully, you should have a billing account. This is my billing account, basically. Payment account ID, nickname, this is my billing ID. This is what it should show if things are all fine. If you go to check your payment settings. Now, if I go to my overview, okay, it's not, has no billing account. Okay, it is showing there's no billing account. Let me just for a minute unshare my screen to check my payment overview. Just a minute. So if you folks, I cannot click on this payment overview because it shows the credit card details, the last 4 digits, expiry date, all those things. So if it is not showing you the billing account, right, it's going, click on this payment overview, you will have the fix for it. If you click on it yourself, you don't need to share the details, but just click on it. It's going to show do payment or something. It's going to give you that guidelines how to fix it. So once you do it, and if you come back to your payment settings, you should be able to see your billing account, all those disks generated, created for you. So if under payment overview, everything is looking fine, then what I would suggest is give some more time, maybe an hour or so. Then your this thing should be, it should be click on link a billing account. If you don't have a billing account, it's not going to work, Smith. So the billing account should have been generated. So it is not showing you. So if I go here, another account actually, uh, if I go to billing, it should show basically the billing stuff. It is not showing. Uh, let me just check my another account also. Transaction happened. So sometimes it's going to take some time. I've seen some people waited for 4 hours. It automatically got enabled. So they're going to just wait. Now these days they are not activating it. Payment option is showing me your entire payment threshold is available, which means is available, right? Yes, Vijay. So based on what is the country, your currency is going to show. You can use the full credits there. So it's $300 equivalent of it. That's it. So let's wait for others, folks. So let's wait maybe for an hour. Anyway, we should see what is going to happen. Uh, if it does not work by maybe by your morning time or your evening time, just send me an email or something. We can have a quick call, 10-15 minutes call where it's between you and me, where you share the screen and we can fix it out. So okay, so that by tomorrow when we start, you will have your account ready. So the reason is we wanted to give some time for this to get activated. Okay, so known challenges which you have seen. So just leave some time. That's it. Don't do anything extra. Don't try to create one more account. Don't make it complicated. Just leave it for now. We'll come back maybe by towards 9:50. We'll see whether the API is enabled or not. If it's not, let's have a quick call between you of whoever is having the this thing. We can have a quick 10 minutes Google Meet event session. Fix it for you people, where you can individually share your screen and do it. Okay. Now, once you have, what will happen if we enable the billing? Okay, that's a good question. Sorry, I did not. I forgot to make that. Now, assume everything goes fine. Everything goes fine. You will also get your gift icon showing up. So now, if your gift icon shows up, let me just, if you click on it, it should show blah blah blah. All those, sorry, all those information it should show. Now, sometimes it is going to pop up like this. You should never ever click on this button. If you click on this, you are becoming a paid account user, meaning after this amount of credits are exhausted, if I create any resource, I'll be charged to my credit card. So the mistake which you should never do is it can pop up like this. If it pops up, don't do anything. Either click on dismiss or just leave it like that. So this is what you need to do. By mistake, if you have clicked on activate, what I would suggest is keep an eye on your credit. Once it is coming very close, stop using this account. That is the only thing which you can do. If you have already done it by mistake, enabled billing, you can use that credit. How long it is there, how much it is there, you can use it. But when it is coming very close, something like $20 or $30 are still left, stop using this account. If you still use it, it's going to cross charge your credit card because you have given that authorization. Yes, activate. So for example, in one of my account, you see, it's only like 86 days. I'm only left with only 400 rupees, 3,390. It is asking me to upgrade. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to leave it like this. After this credit gets, I'll just stop using this account. So that's what you should do, Kumar. Hope that's answers your question there. Uh, in your initial days, it may show you this activate. Sometimes they are going to pop it up. Don't do anything. Please don't do anything. Just click on dismiss or just refresh the screen. That's it. That's going to make it this thing. So now we have activated our GCP account. Some few people, it is still pending. No worries. We'll definitely get it fixed by today. Let's give some time. That's it. Now, some of the terminologies we'll understand it. Once we understand those terminologies, what we will do is basically then jump into a small demonstration. So the first demonstration we are going to do. So before that, we need to understand certain terms and some terminologies there. So first terminology which we need to understand is zone. What is a zone is basically a data center. a physical data center, an independent failure domains with regions. Basically, it is nothing but a data center where lots of servers, infrastructure, lots of networking is all going to be there. So zones are a physical data center. If you know the address, you can go and visit those data center, but Google will never share where their data centers are there for confidentiality reasons. Then the next terminology which you should be aware is a region, which is geographically a location, an independent location like Mumbai, Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, London, Frankfurt, Las Vegas, then Oregon, then North Virginia. So these are going to be your locations. Now each region is going to have 3 zones. Each region is going to have 3 zones, meaning one region is going to have 3 data centers. Now you can have groups of regions, which is going to make you a multi-region, basically a specific continent. America is going to be one multi-region. Then there are few resources in GCP which are global. It could be, it's globally available resource. So to make this very, very clear, right, let me take this diagram. The same diagram which we were using. Google currently has 24 regions, meaning 24 countries you'll have, uh, or states, 24 locations you will have this Google presence. So if I take my highlighter, so I guess most of you are more comfortable with India. Let me start with India and slowly go to the other parts of the world. So in India, there is one region, which is in Mumbai. So if you live in Mumbai, definitely you would have come across where is the zone, actually those 3 zones. In Mumbai, there are 3 data centers. So soon in Delhi also, it's going to come up. So this is basically, I heard that this white color is futuristic, which is an indication that in India itself, two regions are going to come in. So in one country itself, you can have uh, 2 regions possibly. So like Japan, you have Osaka and also Tokyo, and America. So you have multiple regions in North America. So you can have that. So this is basically for high availability and all. Let me just hide, sorry, 1 minute, erase this. Now this is my one region. Similarly, all these blue dots, if you count, it's going to be 24. And inside these 24 regions, you are going to have 3 zones, minimum 3 zones. Now, 24 threes are, it's going to be 72. Now you may ask, then what is that one extra zone, Mahesh? So that one extra zone is a outstanding zone or an exceptional zone, which is in US Central. US Central, it is an exceptional zone where it is going to have 4 zones. So plus 1. So you may ask why US Central is special. Is it something because of something reason they have made it? There's no official answer, but I can give you some 2 options why there are one extra zone extra in US Central. If you see the entire journey of Google Cloud, the first region which Google created was in US Central. So when they started, right, they felt maybe for having a better availability, 4 zones are better, 4 data centers are good. Maybe they thought like that. Then they provisioned 4 physical data centers in US Central, Iowa. Later, the next zone region which they created was in Belgium. Later, they realized that 4 is going to be an overhead. Let's not do 4 in every region. Let's stick on to 3. So because it was a physical data center and they don't want to dismantle all those things, they just left it. This could be one possible explanation. So possible explanation. The second explanation which I can think of is this one special zone is there, right? That zone is for testing alpha products. Anything new comes in GCP, right? Is always going to be first launched in US Central. It's like your iPhones. Anything comes in iPhone, first is going to be launched in US only. Similarly, any new product comes, it is going to be first launched in US Central. And it's going to be very cheap in US Central, similar to your iPhone, which is going to be very cheap in US compared to any parts of the world. So two possible explanation, maybe that extra zone is only for is basically to promote some alpha products, beta products, to test it out slowly, then they will roll it to other zones. That is one explanation. Or maybe they have done a mistake and they don't want to dismantle that zone, they just left it like that and for testing purpose. Those are two reasons what I think of. Now this is a Mumbai is a region. Inside the Mumbai, you have three zones. Now, this part, this is Asia, including Australia, folks. This is your European Union, and this is going to be your North America, your US. So this is basically multi-region. So when you mention multi-region, it is going to be in a continent, basically. Three is what you are going to get. Three multi-region resources you are going to get. Now, there was one last category which we had seen. Global. What is a global? A resource which is global in nature. We have already seen a resource which is global. That is our VPC or our network. So the network is a global resource. So currently there's no presence in Africa, Mohammed. Yes, there's no presence in Africa. There's no presence in China. No presence in Russia and Asia, Africa. If say for example in South Africa, I know South Africa is getting. It may get a region soon, is my understanding, because of its growing economy. If you want to do it, the closest one is going to be Mumbai. If there's a, say for example, if somebody asks, we want to do some GCP in Africa, currently it is not possible. They have to use the closest region is Mumbai. If they're okay for the data to leave the country or the specific part, then they can use this thing. But there are few new upcoming regions which could be an important one. So in India too, then Middle East was not at all there. At least Doha is coming, which is good. So in AWS, Azure and all, they have a different name. So in AWS, they call it as availability zones, all those things. So here they call it as zones. So one of the resource which is global is basically our network. And in Russia and in China, it is not there because of political reasons, nothing to do with GC. Google, actually, they are ready to have their presence, but you know the reasons, the political reasons because of which it's not allowed, basically. Now, you have basically these terminologies which you should be aware. So whenever we mention zonal, it's nothing but a data center. Region is groups of regions, sorry, groups of zones. Multi-region is groups of regions, basically a continent, and there are few resources which are global. One we have already seen, it is our network. A global network is what you have. Now a small tip to the exam, folks. So throughout the class, it's going to be mix of tips to the exam, preparing for the exam, understanding the concept, and also some real-time exposures, my implementation skills, all those things. It's going to be a mix of all those things. One tip for the exam is any region, if you see, it's going to always end with a number. Mumbai is going to have a name called as Asia South 1. If it's Singapore, it's going to be Asia-Southeast 1. If it's US Central, it's going to be US Central 1. Any region ends with a number, the naming convention. If it is a zone, it's always going to end with an alphabet. So this is a examination tip. You may say this is very, very basic. Once you see a question, this tip will definitely help you out. So what I thought of doing this right from this batch onwards, a new style where we are going to create a document throughout our class. So two documents, which you can use it at any point of time. It's going to be a running document. You will get access to it. Maybe at 9:50 or so, I'll just show you what are the access you are going to get it uh, uh, from today onwards. So I'm going to create two documents, folks. One is an examination tip. It's a cheat sheet. It's not going to be 20 page or something. It's going to be maximum 2 or 3 pages only. So this is for your examination. One more cheat sheet we are going to create, which we are going to call it as real implementation tips. After you clear the exam, you will definitely you need some tips for your real implementation, for proof of concept, for designing all those things, right? For that, what are the tips we should use and what are the best practices you should use? For that, we are going to create this, and this is going to be a live document. So, and you will get access to it right away from today itself. I'll show you where you are going to get it. I have to generate the access for you. Still, I have not done it. So first step for is regions. You can look into the slides if you want. But if you want, it's like 1 hour before the exam, you want to quickly brush up all those things, the cheat sheet is going to help you out. Regions in GCP, okay, regions end with a number. Zones end end with a alphabet, with an alphabet. Example for Mumbai region, Asia hyphen South 1. This is the region name. So you see it's going to be ending with a number. For example, for example, for Mumbai zone, for example, Asia South 1A. When I see it, what is this? It's an indication that it's 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 a zone in Mumbai. So this A is the one which is important here. So here it's going to be the number. So it's going to be your region followed by an alphabet. That is the format, folks. Hope it's clear. The tip looks very, very basic, but there's a chance that you may get question on this also. The questions could be very difficult, could be very simple also. It can happen. So never underestimate any small tips also. That is a key part. That's a tip, and I thought we'll follow it from this batch onwards. Uh, that's the first set of terminology we should be aware of. The second set of terminology which we should be aware of is basically, the one which we should be aware is called as projects. What is a project? Project is the most important thing in GCP. This is called as GCP project. So uh, you have activated your account, it's still in process, but you already see something called as my first project. So this is a entity where which is going to be used for tracking your billing, how many resources you are running, to whom you have given access to, uh, uh, what kind of access you have given, what kind of resources you are using. You are using virtual machine, database, are you using some AI components? All those things are going to be inside this project. So if I were to give a very simple example, I would say a project is like our sweet home. So the home has a electricity billing ID. So it has an identification number. home number or the flat number, whatever it is. So inside the house, you have lots of components or lots of rooms. So rooms, you can call it as components in GCP there. So whatever, it's a billable unit. Basically, it's a billable unit. Or you can call an employee as a project in GCP if you want to have a small analogy. Uh, Whatever you do in GCP has to be inside a project. It's a GCP project. This is like a container. And once we activated it, Google automatically created us a project called as My First Project is what you are going to see. If you want, we can change it later also. I'm going to show you that demonstration at a later point of time. So that's your project. The equivalent of it for people, I saw some people were with AWS and Azure background. For people with AWS background, it is called as account in your AWS. For Azure people, it is your subscription, equivalent of it. So people who are not aware of AWS and Azure, this is a new learning for you, a small thing. So if somebody says I have an account in AWS, basically he's talking about a project in GCP. That's how you can do a mind map when you're talking to an AWS person. So the most important thing is whatever you create in GCP is in a GCP project. That is the most important thing. Now with that background, let's get our hands dirty by doing a small demonstration. I'm going to only do the first part of the demonstration and stop it, and I'll show you where you can have access all those things. There's some question. Let me just answer and then go further. First question, can I have a service which is common to all projects? Good question. Say for example, if you were to have something like that, you have to have a common project. Again, it has to be a project only. You share the resource, like share some resource like PPC, which we have not come to that. So possibilities are there, but it has to be part of a project only. From one project, you are sharing it to another project. So, but something which is common, totally not possible. It should be one more project, but those project resource, you are sharing it with multiple projects. That is possible, but out of project, it is not possible, Mohammed. So it has to be always part of a GCP project. So outside of your project, you cannot do anything. So outside the project, what you can do maximum is some policies. Some policies is what you can do. We'll talk about that more in tomorrow's class. Now, I cannot keep on talking for a long time with just only slides. So let's jump into a small demonstration, and we will use two resources, folks. Most of us know how a virtual machine, what is a virtual machine? You would have definitely created something like a virtual box on your laptop itself. You would have created some virtualized software, installed a virtual environment. You would have tried it. If you have not tried it, you would have at least used your laptop, right? So what if it was laptop was a Linux machine? That's what we are going to do. We'll create a Linux virtual machine and quickly play around with it. And everybody would have used everybody would have used basically a Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive kind of products already, or if it is AWS S3 kind of stuffs. So you also get a similar kind of a product in GCP called as storage, where you can upload anything. It could be an image, it could be a textual file, it could be a video, it could be an audio content, anything you want to store. You can store it in a service called as Google Cloud Storage. So these are very simple products. So we are going to use this for our demonstration purpose. So the way we can access GCP resources, there are different ways of accessing it. The first and the most easy way is the web console. What you are seeing here, sorry, this is called as GCP web console. Sometimes people just call it as console. To be make it very clear, I usually use the term web console. Web is going to be a front end, a UI. So a web front end, this is your stuff. So you can interact with GCP resource via this. This is the first option. We will explore that today. The remaining options, more options are there. We are going to explore it tomorrow. There's one question, any WhatsApp group created for the training communication? So you want to have a WhatsApp group or a Telegram group? We'll decide it. If you want, I can do it. Never did it actually, but if you want, we can have a group, I prefer to have a Google group where if you have any questions or anything, you can ask there. So I usually do that. If you want, I can add you people into that Google group. So the previous batch learners are part of that group. So they ask any implementation questions, there any challenges which they face. Usually people, other teams also do it. It's a Google group. So since we are using GCP, if we can use all Google products, it would be better. So I'll add you people there if you are okay. Give me your consent if you're okay. If you want to add it to that Google group, basically it's a private forum where people discuss the things. It's not that popular, but if you have any questions, any concerns there, you can ask. Others also answer it. It's not only me who have to answer it, but others can also answer it. Sure, folks. I'll just add it. Uh, if you can, if it's okay, you can just send me your, yeah. So okay, if you can just drop a mail so that I can just remember it, so and do it. So I don't have a paper and pen next to me. Just drop me a mail, add me to the group. I'll just add it to add to that Google group. So okay, so now let's explore our sure, folks. So let's go explore the GCP web console first, and then create a storage and a VM resource. I guess maybe only this part we can do today. Tomorrow we will continue it. So for this, let me come to this page. So let's try to understand what are the components here and slowly go into a demonstration. So this is called as GCP Web Console, and a small implementation or a demonstration tip, folks. Uh, Definitely you will be having some customer facing requirement. You may need to understand the requirement from the customer because you are going to design it, right? From where you are going to design it, so you need to understand the customer's requirement. Maybe you may be required to show some small proof of concept, some demonstrations, all those things. So when you are in front of the customer's place and they have asked for a requirement to be demonstrated, you open up your browser. Please don't do this. Go to Google. Okay, I will just use this one. In my previous organizations, all were certified Google data engineers. So, and I used to provide them guidance if they have some challenges. So they used to come to my seat and say, Mahesh, I'm having this problem. How do I fix it? Then I used to just show me the screen, then I'll get an idea. So the way they used to do it was like this. Go to google.com, then they used to search GCP console. Then they used to click on this. They used to show it. Now, if you are totally new, you can do that. But you are a certified data engineer, certified architect, you cannot do this. Can't you even remember a link which is your bread and butter, which is going to be your bread and butter? So it has to be, you have to using this practice. So console.cloud.google.com, so easy to remember. So we remember google.com, so it's just console.cloud.google.com. So this also makes a huge impact when you are in front of the customer. They'll think this person does not also know the URL. He searches it and goes it. Small tip, it's going to make a huge impact when you're doing something in front of the customer. So console.cloud.google.com. And I told this to many people in that organization. You cannot do this. You are certified people, so you have to remember it. So from that time onwards, people started directly going it, or put it in a bookmark. Just click on it and commit, but don't search it and go. Okay. So once you come to that, you should see this stuff. The blue banner is what you are going to see by default, where this is going to act as your home screen. When you click on it, you may be in any screen, but when you click on Google Cloud Platform, it's going to show you the home screen, dashboard, basically. The next component is going to be a project, is going to be a project name. Then you have a search window where you can search for products. I would strongly suggest not to use the search window till you clear a certification. After you clear certification, you go use it, no problem. The reason is, if I say compute engine, you will start typing compute engine here itself. When you do this, right, your search is restricted to a specific term and you'll be only looking at that specific term only. But if you click on this navigation menu or hamburger menu, you'll see all those categories which we saw, the 5 categories. You will be able to see it here. Compute. Now when you want to create a virtual machine, you come to compute and compute engine. But at the same time, our eyes gets attracted towards other components. What is Kubernetes engine? What is Cloud Run? What is VMware engine? So this way your learning is going to become very more. By just scrolling this every time, you'll get more ideas. So then you have some database. Uh, uh, you will get, yes, so the numbers are getting increased. So no need to get scared, but I look for new components. So that's how I do it. And that's the reason most of the demos when I do, I click on the hamburger menu and show it. So that way, by scrolling itself, right, sometimes things gets registered in our mind. So file store, you may think, oh, what is file store? Now if you don't know what is file store, a quick trick is go back to your this thing, folks, GCP in forwards, search for it, and you'll get it in 4 words, an explanation. So everything is going to be a connected thing. So you have databases, all the database options, the networking, all the networking components. Then you have some DevOps related stuffs. Sorry. Uh, you have some DevOps operations related, some management tools. Then your big data components. What we saw in slide, everything is seen in the in our console, web console, your artificial intelligence capability. Everything is there. So I would never recommend for search, at least till you become certified. After certification, yes, you can use it. But till you get certified, always click on the hamburger menu, scroll it. It's going to be a pain, but the pain is for a good cause actually. So everything is hidden in this navigation menu. So prefer to use this one. Then you see your free trial status, which should be shown soon in your account also. Then there is one option called as Cloud Shell. This is my favorite service or option, I would say. This is basically a Linux environment. If I just click on this, at the bottom of my screen, it's going to show up a virtual machine, which is Google is going to provide free of cost. It's a Linux machine, which is going to come up with something like 2 vCPU, 16 GB of RAM, something like that. So 16 or 8 GB of RAM, free of cost. So whatever you want to do it in the UI, you can do it in the terminal also, command line interface, CLI also. So that's going to be a good option. We'll explore that more. So this is basically, it's just browsing. Let's let it come. So that's your Linux environment basically, to do anything in the command line. Then you have some help notification. We are going to see that how often we are going to use it. Any changes you do, it's going to be notified here. Then you have some settings, preference, all those things which you can do. And the last one is your profile. We are going to use our profile information very often. So this is my profile information. I have a domain. I'll talk about that later. So this is what it shows. Then you have the dashboard. These things are called as wizards or widgets basically. So I can drag and drop to, if I feel I don't want this one, I want it here, I can drag and drop it. I can do this kind of a stuff. So where is my project? Which widget you want it to be focused, you can have this focus. What I usually do is the resources. I guess the resources would be usually here. The default would be, the setting would be something like this. I usually drag this and put it in the center. Why? I get a complete idea how many resources are getting used. Now, if you cultivate this habit of stopping the resource if you don't need it, even though it is free, you should not exhaust it. So cultivate that habit of being little stringy in the beginning in cloud. That's going to make you a very good cloud architect. So now I see I have some resources running already, and these resources are low cost resources. They are not going to incur huge cost. I'm just going to leave it. But if there's a virtual machine running, this gives me an indication. There's one virtual machine running, Mahesh. Can you go and stop it? So that's going to give me an indication. So that is where I usually drag and drop this in the center. So my focus is going to be on that. Then there's one more important thing where you can see the status. Google status. What are the services? Is there any outage, service disruption? To know that complete details, you can see it. If you see it is as a green bar, all the resources in GCP are working fine. Healthy, they are healthy is what it indicates. But sometimes you will see it as orange. Sometimes you may see it as red. It's showing, it's an indication it is outage. Let me just show you if I have one. I have one screenshot where it was basically it was having something like a red one, red. I just have a screenshot here, folks. So this one, if you see, the banner is red. The indication is on that day, 4th of December, there was a specific service which was having a outage. So if it's green, all good. Now, as a cloud architect, you should be aware of this. So if you just go look into the status, you will see as of today, everything is running fine. All the services. So this is an important one in your implementation cheat sheet. So bookmark this one is what I would suggest. In your implementation tip, uh, bookmark so that you know everything is healthy. Now, definitely people will ask on that 14th of November or some December, the outage happened, right? Was these all services down? No, all the services were up. It was only the identity option which was failed. So Google identity had failed, because of which nobody was able to log into Google, YouTube, all those things. So, but all the services was running. And if you see, orange color is for service disruption, outage is red color. So all the services you can come to know. And if you are very interested to look at one specific service, when was the major outage it had happened, so you can just click on history to know when and all the specific outage happened. You can come to know that very easily. So why this is very important is, at one point of time in your career, you will definitely excel to a stage where the customers treat you as a trusted advisor. Anything goes wrong, they can definitely call the support. But the rapport which you have built with the customer, they feel like you are going to be a single point of contact. So if something goes wrong, they will call you. Something is not working, any reason, it's not going to be don't treat it as a support job, but it's a trust. They believe in you, so what you say, they believe you. So if you have built that kind of a stuff, if they say Mahesh, something is not working in this thing, so the first thing which you should see is come to this status.google.com, status.cloud.google.com, and check, is there any outage? If they say virtual machine is having problem, check whether there's any outage. If it is not, then check with your team, is there any issue with the infrastructure or with the software which they are having. So that is where this is going to help you out. So I always focus on this every day to see anything is there wrong with the stuffs. So that's your third widget. Then you have similar widgets which you can refer to, some billing, all those stuffs. Billing for us is always going to be showing 0 because we are using a free trial account. So it should be always 0. One important thing which I would suggest is getting started. Since you people are starting it newly, you can explore these stuffs. That's going to be really helpful. And one of my favorite widget is news. What I do is I drag this news, I keep it right below my status. This gives you, it's more like a news feed for Google. So where you come to know what are the various resources, new products, launches, all those things. Some of you follow me in my LinkedIn, I have seen. So when I post any articles, most of the articles are from this feed only. If I feel it is interesting, I read it, I put it in the LinkedIn. So this way you are learning and you are also sharing your stuffs with the community. So this is a very important wizard. I would suggest you to every day at least spend 5 minutes on this to find something is interesting. Um, it's going to be a good one. So these are wizards which you can drag and drop and put all, you can customize it. If you click, you feel you don't want this app engine, just turn it off. That's it. So you can do those kind of stuffs very easily. Uh, that's something. This is like a good amount of exploration on the front end or the web console part. So I guess we have only 15 minutes. I'll not go further, but I wanted to share some information about the access, all those things. So let me stop it. Once we resume back tomorrow, I will show you how we create a storage bucket, how we create a virtual machine in the console, and we'll follow the other procedures also, other methodologies also. So let me stop it here. Now some important stuffs which I wanted to share. Uh, After the class ends, right, you're going to get access to this materials, folks. The recordings is going to be done. So give me around 8 hours. I should upload it and you should get it in something like in a YouTube playlist, private YouTube playlist. Let me know what email ID you want. You already shared your Gmail ID. If that is the one, I'm going to share it to that. But if you want on something else, let me know. I'll share it to that Gmail ID. And along with the recording, you'll also get the slides in a PDF format. So the introduction to GCP is what we were doing, right? So you will see that, and there are some code snippets which we have not yet used. So we will use it tomorrow. So if you open this PDF, it is the same thing which you saw today. So you're going to get those slides, uh, and you can keep a copy. And this copy is going to be for lifetime. And I usually update the slides because I run regular batches. I keep updating this. So the last time which I updated was September 21st last year. So this you get it, and there's one common folder which I have kept where you will have some useful materials like bookmark. What are those things? So if you see, I will throughout my class, I will refer to some saved bookmarks. Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, Module 4. So till Module 10. So for those modules, I would have used this thing. So this is the same thing which I have exported and kept it so that you can go and use it. If you want, you can import it. Some really useful links are there. And cheat sheet. So this cheat sheet, I mentioned, right, I'm not going to give you easy steps like step 1 do this, step 2 do this. No, if there's any demo which we are going to do, some commands are required. I would have mentioned that in module 1. This is the command which we are going to use. In module 2 we are going to use this. These commands would be really helpful. If you don't remember it, you can copy paste it. Maybe also during the exam time you can refresh your knowledge. So that is your first cheat sheet. This is for doing your labs. So some command you would have missed out, maybe some specific thing. Just come, refer it, you should get it. So that's your cheat sheet. And there are older versions of the cheat sheet because I keep updating it. I have kept the older versions here. If you want, you can refer it. But I would strongly recommend you to refer to the updated cheat sheet. And you can always look at the time. So the cheat sheet was last updated on 26th of December. That is one thing. The examination cheat sheet, which we just opened, it's a Word document. I'm going to keep it as Word document so that we can keep on editing it. Implementation, real implementation tip, that is going to be there. Some cheat sheets about the Google Cloud command lines, I have kept it. Some white papers. If you are interested from the security perspective, you can look into these white papers, really cool articles. Whenever you have some time, you can look into it. So basically, what you get by the end of day today is the recordings, then access to this documentation, this materials. Each module will have their PDF document, and if there's any script, any code base which I wanted to share, I would have put it in this. This is how I usually share it. You should get access to it. Okay, so let me just stop it here. You can just check whether your free trial account has been changed, any updates or anything happened, or it is still the same. So is it still the same? So there's one question. So if you have sent it, I'll just look it. In my GCP environment managed via Terraform and GitLab, the core developers are working for most of the stuffs. Since I'm familiar with AWS and Azure, I'm very interested in GCP and Kubernetes. Please advise how to contribute more in GCP cloud, which on specifically do I need to concentrate on GCP? Sure, for all kinds of access. Okay, thank you. I'll send that. There's one question from Vijay on the Terraform part. So I also worked on worked in Terraform to this thing. So please advise how to contribute more in GCP cloud, and which is specifically to do the needs to concentrate on GCP career. So if you have already have a good exposure on other clouds, what I would suggest is what you have done in other cloud, maybe a specific deployment you would have done. Why don't you try the same thing in GCP? That way your learning is going to be becoming more enhanced, Vijay. So that's one small tip which I would suggest. And any kind of stuff after this, as we progress with the class, right, you can start comparing with your AWS implementations which you have done. So create a replica of that in GCP. That way your skills are going to improve. Thanks for the email, Vivek. I'll look into the email after the class. uh, Anybody has this free trial account created, folks? Is it having any change, or is it still the same case? Most of you had issues. uh, is it by any chance still the same? Still the same? Okay. Okay. I had to check. I had to click link. Okay, no need to. Okay, when you click on link billing account, what it shows, folks? If you click on that, what it shows. So maybe let's give some time, folks. Uh, Maybe if you are in a different zone, maybe if it's evening for you, the morning time, just give a check. If it's not there, just buzz me for a quick chat or something. We can do it. Yeah. No need to reach out to billing and all. No need to reach out to Google support here. It's going to be something we can do it ourselves. Only if you are not able to do it, we'll just definitely reach out to them. It shows a drop down with the value my bill. Does it show my billing account, Smith? If it shows, just attach it to that billing account. Just show it to that. You should be able to do it. And if it's not working, please buzz me. Okay, it worked. Okay, if it is working, awesome. So then I will show you my this thing. Okay, sometimes, right? Sometimes some projects may not work. So just give a try like this, folks. Under your billing, if you come to your management, account management, when you come to your account management, you may see your project, my first project. If you don't see anything, uh, you should then click on attaching it. There's an option called as not here, I guess. It should be in the beginning, overview or somewhere. What is the screen, folks? Smith and Kumar, from which screen it was actually? Which screen, folks, so that others can also do it. So somewhere link it to your link your project. Somewhere it's going to show. What is the stuff which is going to show? Kumar or Smith, if you can let us know. There are some people who still did not get it correctly. At least it could be helpful. It gives two option link. Okay, so okay, thanks for putting it in the everyone chat, Smith. It gives two option: link the billing account and manage. So if you click on link to the billing account, and the billing account is going to be my billing account, something like that. You just link it, it's going to come up, folks. So it's going to come up. Give a try if it's working, folks. And this is under billing. You have to go to billing menu. So click on the hamburger menu, click on billing, then only you can look into that part which Smith and Kumar has mentioned. Give a try, folks, for whom it did not work actually. And we'll stop it here. So okay, good to know, folks, it's working. So you understood the reality, so that's good. So maybe we could have done that linking part beginning itself. Sometimes it works, it gets attached automatically, or maybe it took really time for the billing to be enabled. Now if you just go back after you have attached it, is it working now? Is your gift icon showing, folks? Is your gift icon showing? Do you have a gift icon now by any chance? Okay, if the gift icon is not shown, okay, can you at least go to compute engine? Okay, gift icon, maybe they have removed it. Gift icon is showing, but I can see the notification status. Okay, maybe they have changed it. Can you go to compute engine, folks? Can you just go to compute engine at least? Does it show option of create button, or does it still show enable billing? What does it show in your compute engine screen? Create button is showing, good, not showing billing. So Kumar, does it show create button for you? Awesome. If it's showing create button, you're all good, folks. You have activated your account. Create button is there. Beautiful. So never ever if any pop-up like this comes, activate, upgrade, never ever do it, please. So that's it. We'll stop it here, folks. Saturdays, I usually have a hard stop at 10. Sundays, I can even stretch after 10. If you have any questions outside of the topic also, you can ask. If I know it, I'll definitely answer it. So, but Saturdays, you have to excuse me. I will stop it at 10. If there's any short questions or anything, I can answer it quickly. I guess someone wanted to talk. Yeah.
Is it only the weekend classes or everyday class?
Sorry. It's a weekend class.
Okay. Is it a weekend class every weekends?
Every weekend,
Fridays.
Saturday and Sunday. Saturdays and for people in US, it's going to be Friday or something like that. It's going to be usually Saturday and Sunday, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Yeah.
Okay, your IST time, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, folks? By any chance, if some of you did not had your free trial account activated, please drop me a mail. I'll help you out and fix it.
Yeah, Mesh, actually somehow it is not working for my office laptop. I will
Okay,
figure out. Yeah.
Fine.
If needed, I will call you. Okay.
Sure, Mangesh. Yeah. All right, folks. We'll stop it here. Expect a mail from me where you are going to get access to this document, the materials, and access to your video. Okay. If you have given an Outlook or Hotmail, please send me a Gmail. It's going to be easy for me to put it in Gmail. That's the only reason. Okay. So we'll stop it here. And do join on tomorrow's class where we are going to do directly into hands-on, because you are going to also have your lab. So hands-on will get our hands dirty from tomorrow onwards. We'll stop it here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.